Kremlin, first on Republic TV. And as a result of the actions of the military and special services, the devices were disabled, is what Kremlin says. I'm just going to read out. This is the Russian version. The Russian version, I repeat, as a result of the actions of the military and special services, the devices were disabled. There are no casualties or material damage from fragments that fell in the Kremlin. The Kremlin regarded these actions as a planned terrorist act and an assassination attempt on the president on the eve of Victory Day. And as a result of the terrorist attack, the president was not injured. His work schedule has not changed and continues as usual. Footage allegedly shows the aftermath of the attack on the territory of the Kremlin. So there's a direct attack on the Kremlin territory. In this particular video, you can see smoke emanating from there. Russia calling it a terror attack. Russia saying this was an attempt on Putin's life. So this is a huge escalation, whichever way you look at it. This is a big escalation, and they're saying there is Russia saying that Kyiv, Russia saying, I repeat, in the words of the Russian government, saying that Kyiv tried to strike on Kremlin residence of the Russian president with a UAV as a result of a terrorist attack. Russian President Vladimir Putin was not injured. That was a readout from the Kremlin's press release that's just come in. This we'll try and get some experts on the phone line right now on this big escalation in the war in the war with Ukraine. Aishwarya is not on the phone line, but we'll try and go across to him. I'll try and get some more reactions, some videos coming in, and in fact more reports from the Russian media talking about what we know so far. Russian media saying that at the time of the attempted attack by the Ukrainian drones, Russian President Vladimir Putin was not present inside. I repeat, Kremlin saying that at the time of the attack, Putin was not at the Kremlin when the drone struck, or when this attack happened between both when the drones were allegedly brought down in the Kremlin. He was not there, is what we are hearing. But picking up more and more details coming in, and what we do know is that so far Ukraine has not commented on the attempted Kremlin drone strike. There is no word officially from Ukraine and Russia saying that they consider the drone attack attempt on the president's life. They're saying that this drone attack was a direct attempt on the president's life. And there are videos that are now emerging from the war zone, not really the war zone, but this is from the Kremlin in Moscow, where videos showing that there was some smoke emanating. Some part of the Kremlin perhaps was struck, is what we understand. And Russian air defense systems, I repeat, Russian air defense systems intercepted to Ukraine drones. So I'm getting in more details. In fact, as we speak, just picking up details from the Russian media, which is tracking the story very closely. And what we know so far about the interception is that Russian air defense systems intercepted these two Ukrainian drones that were targeting the Kremlin overnight. The UAVs were down. There are no victims or material damage. President Putin's working schedule has not changed. It will continue as usual. The Kremlin noting that the Russian side reserves the right to take retaliatory measures as it sees fit. It regards this as a terrorist attack. So that is a big statement there. Russia saying that they reserve the right to retaliate. So will we see a retaliatory action by Russia perhaps soon to this attempt that they claim Ukraine made on Vladimir Putin? My colleague Aishwarya is also joining us on the phone line. Aishwarya, are you there? We have the first video that's also come in with this attempt being made on Putin.
Absolutely. Niranjan, and RT is officially saying that President Putin's working schedule has not been changed, but they're also saying Russian overnight. They are saying that the UAVs were down, there were no victims or material damage. The Kremlin has said, as you said, they were updated and saying Russia holds the right to retaliate, and they will. It's a known fact, but the RIA officially claiming Russian air system one
There, Aishwarya, I have a poor line with you, so we'll try and get some experts on the phone line with us right now. But this is a big escalation. The plans to hold a parade has not changed, is what the Kremlin is saying. There was a plan to hold a parade at the Red Square on the 9th of May, and that plan stands. Let's stay full frame on the visual of the alleged attempt. Let's once again show you that video where you can see smoke emanating, and we'll just go back to that video on your screen right now. That is the video that Russia claims is proof. Let's go full frame to that video, please. That's the video that they claim. In fact, there are one or two videos that show the alleged attempt by Ukraine's drones or UAVs to strike the Kremlin, and some of these videos have been released by sections of the Russian media. So we are trying to get you as many details as we can. What we know so far is that Russia claims Ukraine tried to launch a drone strike on Putin's Kremlin residence. 2 drones were aimed at the Kremlin, and as a result of the actions of the military and special services, the devices were disabled. Major Gaurav Arya joining us on the phone line. Major Gaurav Arya, there's a video that they've released. There is some smoke emanating. They claim that their air defense forces brought down these 2 drones. Major Arya.
Apparently, 2 drones have been used in this attack. That is what we are coming to know, and no casualties have been reported so far. However, it's very serious that the airspace around the Kremlin has been violated by these drones, and obviously the target could have been nothing else but Putin, because there is no other sense of launching a drone attack. I don't know how this will impact the war in Ukraine, but I think the Ukrainians, if they are truly behind it, and that is what Russia claims, they've just made this so much more personal, and I think Putin will take it personally and react personally also.
Do you see this perhaps as the biggest escalation so far in the war, Major Arya?
If not escalation, this is the biggest provocation, Niranjan, that I would say. If not escalation, this is the biggest provocation, because, it is one thing, armies trying to kill each other, but when you go after a head of state, and I'm here not disputing the Russian story because we don't have any counter-narrative from the Ukrainians. I'm not disputing the Russian story right now, but, when you make this personal, when you target one individual who's a head of state, then things go in a different direction altogether. And I think some of the blame has to be taken by NATO countries who are, there are special forces there, SEAL Team 6, and there is the SAS, Special Air Service, Special Boat Service, and various other special forces who are there on ground in Ukraine advising and guiding the Ukrainians. So somebody's put them up to it, and if these drones are indeed traced back to Ukraine, as Russia claims, then we could see the war going in another direction altogether, Niranjan.
Yes. Major Arya, stay with me, sir. I also have Madhav Nalapat joining us on the phone line, strategic affairs expert. Madhav Nalapat ji, we have the video that Russia has released, which claims is also some of the videos that were captured, that have captured the fact that Ukraine tried to target Russian President Vladimir Putin. They claim that the Russian air defense systems intercepted 2 Ukrainian drones targeting the Kremlin overnight. 2 of these videos are also being circulated by the Russian media. UAVs were downed, no material damage, but they also say in the urgent press release that was sent out that they reserve the right to take retaliatory measures, and they're considering this a terrorist attack. Madhav Nalapat ji, where do you see this going?
Well, several months ago in Republic, I had said that many people in Russia believe Vladimir Putin has been too soft on Ukraine. And frankly, he has not responded with anything near the full force of what is available to Russia. As a consequence, Vladimir Putin is making Russia look very weak against a country that is way smaller than it, and is also showing up Russia as being unable to take any kind of counteraction to prevent a flood of weapons openly being placed in Ukrainian hands. So very frankly, I think the Ukrainians, if this is true, I fully agree with Major Arya. I think they may have gone too far. And the fact that Vladimir Putin is basically being, in a sense, putting on the brakes, contrary to what the Western media is saying, putting on the brakes and preventing an all-out Russian counteroffensive, preventing an all-out Russian targeting of Kyiv, I have a feeling that this kind of a situation will probably concentrate minds in Moscow. The fact is that Russia is looking, frankly, not like a superpower, not like a great power, not even like a major power. It's looking like Libya, like Syria, like Iraq. And don't forget what happened in Iraq and Libya to the individuals who are in charge of those countries. So very frankly, I think the Ukrainians may have finally crossed a red line where Putin's strategic position is concerned.
Yes, well, absolutely. So stay with me. I want to go back to Major Arya. Major Arya, are you there?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you want to respond to that, and I'll go across to Major General K.K. Sinha also joining us on the phone line. Yeah, Major Arya.
Absolutely. I mean, what Professor Nalapat said makes a lot of sense. See, there are 2-3 things, Niranjan, that we must consider. Number one is the fact that, yes, Russia, the entire military might of Russia has not been thrown against Ukraine. This much is true. Also, the fact that, they just made it personal, the Ukrainians. There are a lot of nationalist bloggers in Russia who command, their following in thousands and hundreds of thousands, and they have been anti-Putin. And what they are saying is that go for all-out war, because this war has been dragging on for more than a year. And again, I would agree with Professor Nalapat that, he has come under scrutiny in Russia in the sense that not just public scrutiny, but a great deal of criticism from hardliners who say that this is not the Russian might. This is not why you have the famous Russian armored artillery and rocket forces, that they can't, handle tiny Ukraine. So this will give Putin the justification to go for an all-out war against the Ukraine, claiming that there has been an assassination attempt. But let's not forget why World War I happened. World War I happened because a certain individual was assassinated, and if they have tried to kill Putin, if that is the aim, then Putin can't be, he can't be seen as being weak, because like Professor Nalapat very rightly mentioned, what happened to Saddam, what happened to Gaddafi. You're seen as weak, foreign forces come in and that's the end of you. So this is the time for Putin to show strength and to show resolve and to go all out. I mean, finish this Ukraine business once and for all. Whatever he wants to do, just do it, because certainly, the NATO people aren't putting any troops in Ukraine. That's for sure.
Stay with me, Major Arya. General K.K. Sinha also joining us on the phone line. General Sinha, a very, very big escalation in the war. What some of our experts also say that could be the turning point of the war, this alleged attempted attack by Ukraine.
Good evening. Of course, there's very, very, serious development which has taken place, especially when, there was supposed to be a counteroffensive, and the counteroffensive had not started, and now, this type of attempt is taking place. Today's, what has come out, 3 days before also there was an attempt on which they, Ukrainian got some information regarding, Putin's visit to a place, and there also the strike was done, but they were able to, put it down, about 15 kilometers aside, and a drone attack was supposed to be there. Now, desperations can't become like that, Ukrainians, especially, they are back from the, especially from NATO and from the Western allies, they are not able to put it, and this is a reality. This counteroffensive, they can't launch it the way the, Putin is going about. And Putin has got a, agenda. He just can't throw his complete might. We have to understand that only 20% of Ukrainian land has been taken. And he can hold that, line of defense has been dug all around the Dnipro, right up to the Luhansk area. In between, the only, pivot which was left was of Bakhmut. Bakhmut was the only place which was left, and now they are holding Bakhmut with strength. Kramatorsk area, they wanted to, actually launch. So these have actually, rattled everyone, especially the, Western allies. They know that Ukrainians are in no position, in spite of that fact that they have been given everything what they demanded. If you remember, a few days back, the NATO chief, he was saying that 98% of the stuff has been given to him, and all armaments, all type of, tanks, even everything has been, but they are not able to launch it. The way, Putin is able to hold. And this is what the bluff is. Putin can't go with the complete might. We have to, and this is what the Americans want, that he should put the whole effort. You know, I was hearing people are Putin and the people, especially his people around, they know what exactly West wants. And that's why Putin is also going, if you know, a few days back in the Black Sea when they have gone for, you know, the Reaper was, you know, brought down by Su-57. Now Putin wants to increase it. Putin also wants to go in Syria. The way Americans are, you know, hit in what happening into the Middle East, especially in West Asia. Now all the things are changing. Now this is, you know, this is not something like what we see that it is between, you know, Ukrainian and Russia. It is a battle where, you know, world order has to be changed, and Putin understands this. He is, I think, he is expert in this understanding. If he will go all out, Far East office will get open, and if Far East and Arctic gets open, and Putin will lose the battle. This they want that he should go all out in the Ukraine and want to suck in. They couldn't do anything. Now they want to hit Putin because that is a symbol, and they will say it is they are victorious. This narrative of that the war is all false and dictated narrative. It is a dictated narrative on which the West wants to do it.
Okay, so stay with me, sir. Sir, stay with me. I just want to go across also to Major Sanjay Soy, Madhav Nalapadji, Major Gaurav Arya are also on the phone line with us. General Sanjay Soy, if I can quickly get your view or your reading of the situation as it stands. We are hearing that Zelensky is in Finland and Russia is already talking about retaliatory measures.
In fact, in last about week or 10 days, so things have become very, very desperate on both ends, whether Ukraine or Russia. Ukraine has been talking of the counter-offensive that Russia did some action in Black Sea, and now they have gone across the border in the Kremlin, if the drone attacks are there, which are totally unacceptable to Russia, and I think will be totally unacceptable to West also. That is what the West or the allies of the Ukraine don't want Ukraine to do. They have been giving only defensive weapon systems, or now they have given only very, very limited kind of offensive weapon systems which have been given to Ukraine. So this is like taking the war or taking the battle to the next level. When you are targeting the Putin directly, it means that the Russians will not take it lying down, and they have the capability to retaliate in an appropriate manner, which they have shown in the past also, in spite of the war going on for last more than 1 year. But they have shown the capability and the resolve to continue without showing any sign of weakness. And that is where probably the desperation is showing on the by the Ukrainian, what to do, how to do, because the last strike a couple of days back, which major strike which Russia did, was something like preempting the offensive plans of Ukraine. Only when they were assembling and they were thinking of launching counter-offensive, that is the time that Russia launched a big round of missiles and rockets and artillery shelling and bombardments, and probably stalled or failed their plans. And this is the kind of desperation which is showing, and which can lead to...
Sir, okay, just stay with me. General Soy, there's a new video that has just emerged, and I'm just putting our focus on that video. It's on the surface in the newsroom right now. If our producers can take that video on air. And yes, this is the video. General Major Arya, are you there? Look at this video. This is the video. Major Arya, are you there?
Yes.
Sir, yeah, I don't know whether you're in front of a TV screen, but I think this is a video that has just come in. But a video that says a lot. Ukrainian drone attack. This footage shows that the dome under the flagpole at the Kremlin is on fire. An image that, of course, sums up perhaps what you can estimate will be the Russian response to such an attack. Major Arya. Madhav Nalapaji, are you there, sir? Madhav Nalapaji, are you there? Just trying to see if I can go across to him. The moment the drone hit, the UAV reportedly hit, the Kremlin also now captured on video. That is the moment when the UAV reportedly hit the dome at the Kremlin. That video is now out. These are videos that are put out by different news agencies in Russia. We're playing out that video once again. The moment it struck also now captured on camera. Let's go back to that video of the moment. The moment this drone hits the Kremlin has now been accessed by Republic TV. Major Arya, if you're looking at these pictures, would like you to take our viewers through what you make of it, sir. Interestingly, some of these videos are being circulated by even the Ukrainian media. The Ukrainian media is circulating these videos of the moment it hit the dome on the Kremlin. So I'm not sure whether this was planned and how they got access to it, but it seems like a camera that was planted, or I'm not sure this is a CCTV, but it was captured. The entire attack has been captured on camera and circulated, obviously. Majorya. Jal ke Kisina, can you hear me? You can take that, sir. Okay, I lost the phone line. Lost the phone line there. Trying to get that video right now, and we will tell you all the details that we have so far. Let's once again tell you what we know so far. Russia has claimed that Ukraine attempted to launch a drone strike on Vladimir Putin's Kremlin residence at night. They also claim that 2 drones were aimed at the Kremlin, and as a result of the actions of the military and special services, these drones were disabled. There are no casualties or material damage from fragments that fell in the Kremlin. The Kremlin in Russia regarding these actions as a planned terrorist act and an assassination attempt on the President of Russia on the eve of Victory Day. As a result of the terrorist attack, the President was not injured. His work schedule has not changed and continues as usual. Footage allegedly shows the aftermath of the attack on the territory of the Kremlin, and Republic has accessed that video, which shows also the moment the drone hit the Kremlin. Russian air defense systems reportedly intercepted 2 Ukrainian drones targeting the Kremlin overnight. The UAVs were downed. There are no victims or material damage, and President Putin's working schedule has not changed. It will continue as usual. The Kremlin in Russia noting that Russia and Moscow reserve the right to take retaliatory measures as they see fit and regard this as a terrorist attack. Back-to-back updates that we're getting in from Russia as we speak. Russia are planning to hold a parade on Red Square on the 9th of May, and that plan stands. That plan hasn't changed. And Republic accessing new footage also now on air on your screen that shows new footage of the Ukrainian drone attack on the Kremlin, which has now appeared, and that we can see the burning of the dome under the flagpole. This is the breaking news video coming in. Major Rajan Kochar still on the phone line with us. Major Rajan Kochar, looking at this video, sir. More and more videos coming in. So how do you see Russia respond to this, Jal Kochar?
Okay. Now this is a very interesting development that the attack for the first time has moved in inside Russia. Earlier it used to be on the peripheries, as we saw a drone attack on the border of Russia earlier, and trying to target their aid fields. But this is for the first time it has gone into Kremlin, and we are seeing these visuals as you are showing them, that these two drone strikes were there and they've been neutralized. So, as was it happened last time when the bridge on Crimea was damaged due to a hostile action by the Ukrainian forces, and the riposte, what the Russians gave at that time was in terms of a very, very heavy missile attacks on the Russian cities, including their Kyiv. We saw a major missile attacks on Kyiv also as a retaliation. So it would not be out of place to presume at this point of time that the Russian retaliation is going to be quite fierce, because they have dared to target their president. So I'm sure this is not only a personal attack, it is to be treated an attack on the sovereignty of Russia, because similar to what had happened when our parliament was targeted, it is also serious on that account, on similar lines, I would say that. And we would expect in the coming days, or maybe from tomorrow onward itself, the intensification of the Russian onslaught onto major Ukrainian cities, because the offensive is already going on. Russia has already, the battle of Bakhmut is already on, and Kherson also, on the east of the Dnieper River, the attacks are still on. So I would presume that from tomorrow itself, there will be a very strong retaliation from the Russian side. Niranjan.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Stay with me. In fact, we're also getting in some updates from Russia. Tatiana Kukureva is joining us on the phone line. And Tatiana works with Sputnik, and she is in Russia. She's the deputy chief of Sputnik International. Tatiana, good evening. Looking at the videos, most of which have been put out by the Russian media, this, by every estimate, is a huge escalation. Let me start by asking you, how do you see Russia responding to this, Tatiana?
First of all, let me just correct you a small second. I have not worked with Sputnik for almost a year now. But in the meantime, I see this, this quite an audacious attack, attempted attack, as a clear provocation and a clear message that Ukraine wants to send to Moscow, that it can technically reach the heart of Moscow. Now we'll have to, unfortunately, wait and see exactly what kind of retaliation the Russian side is, is going to inflict upon Kyiv. But I'd say that, hopefully that message has, sunk in, and then, the people that make decisions have gotten that message.
But this, looking at, how daring this attempt has been, by every estimate, this is something perhaps that Moscow didn't expect, one would say. Even experts would say for Ukraine to even try something like this would be almost suicidal. And now that it has happened, we are hearing that Putin is safe. What is the latest on Putin's whereabouts and how he's responding to this, Tatiana?
Well, look, first and foremost, it is quite a daring attack. I'll give you that. And again, audacious is the word I would use. But the point is that it did happen during the night. Obviously, for anybody who is in Russia and I'm sure that, Ukrainian military knows that as much as we do, that the president is not in the Kremlin during the night. So it is very much a message. It is very much a message, but and again, I'm hoping sincerely that the response is going to be adequate. And this is exactly what the president's spokesperson has said. Dmitry Peskov said that Russia reserves the right to respond adequately at the time it sees fit and in the manner it sees fit. So for that part, we'll have to wait and see. But I do believe that that response will be exactly that, very corresponding to the attack itself.
Thank you, Tatiana, for speaking to Republic TV. We will be in touch and look forward to speaking to you once again. Tatiana Kokoreva, a Russian journalist, joining us on the phone line there, saying that she expects Russia to give a response, a befitting response to Ukraine's attempt. And this is a big escalation in the Russia-Ukraine war. We'll take a short break here on Republic TV. We'll come back with the latest reports. We're also hearing that Putin is meeting his commanders, his generals, as we speak. We are back with that story and much more. Stay tuned.
जब मैं देशवासियों को कहता था आपकी उंगली पर आपकी बैंक होगी, तो ये लोग मेरा मजाक उड़ाते थे। मोदी जी बताइए, गरीब आलू टमाटर डिजिटली कैसे खरीदेगा? आज आप देखिए, आपकी फिल्म सिटी में भी चाय की दुकान से लेकर लिट्टी चोखे के ठेले तक डिजिटल पेमेंट हो रहा है या नहीं? फाइव जी का रोल आउट हुआ है। हम दुनिया में सबसे तेज गति से आगे बढ़े हैं। 5G को लेकर भारत ने जो तेजी दिखाई है, जिस तरह अपनी खुद की टेक्नोलॉजी विकसित की है, उसकी पूरी दुनिया में चर्चा हो रही है।
Mr. Vaishnav, how soon can we change all the trains in the country? Why do we need bullet trains? Why do we need fast trains at all? That's a transformation. So from tinkering to transformation, tell me what really has changed and what is changing.
Today, Railway's thought process, Railway's mindset is only and only about performance, only and only about meeting people's expectations, only and only about transforming the economy. Our Prime Minister really thinks that India will become a superpower, and he believes that if we lay the foundation right, then the country will be in the right direction.
हमने सत्ता के माइंडसेट को भी बदला है। हम सेवा का माइंडसेट लेकर आए हैं। हमने गरीब कल्याण को अपना माध्यम बनाया है। हमने तुष्टीकरण नहीं, संतुष्टीकरण को अपना आधार बनाया है। इस अप्रोच ने देश के गरीब और मध्यम वर्ग के लिए सुरक्षा का कवच का निर्माण कर दिया है। भ्रष्टाचारियों का कितना भी बड़ा गठजोड़ क्यों ना बना ले, सारे भ्रष्टाचारी एक ही मंच पे आ जाए, सारे परिवारवादी एक ही जगह पे आ जाए, लेकिन मोदी अपने रास्ते से लौटने वाला नहीं। भ्रष्टाचार और परिवारवाद के खिलाफ मेरी लड़ाई जारी रहेगी दोस्तों, और मैं देश को इन चीजों से मुक्त कराने के लिए प्रण लेकर के निकला हुआ इंसान हूँ। मुझे आपके आशीर्वाद चाहिए। साथियों, आज देश में जो बदलाव आ रहा है, उसकी दिशा क्या है, इसको मापने का एक तरीका है अर्थव्यवस्था के विकास और विस्तार की गति। भारत को $1 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था बनने में लगभग 60 साल लगे। 2014 तक हम लोग किसी तरह $2 ट्रिलियन के मार्ग तक पहुंच पाए, यानी 7 दशक में $2 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था। लेकिन आज हमारी सरकार के 9 वर्ष बाद भारत आज लगभग $3.5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी वाला देश है। कुछ लोगों को मोदी से इतनी परेशानी क्यों है और आज इसकी वजह में
1/3 of all global food production is wasted. Don't you think we need to produce more efficient distribution systems? Focus on the basic rather than trying to bring
Thank you for staying with us here on Republic TV. The big breaking story of the moment, going back to the pictures that came in from Russia, where Kremlin claims Ukraine has attacked the residence of Vladimir Putin, claiming there's been an assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin. And we have details as per the media in both Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine officially not saying anything about Russian claims, but Russia saying it foiled a drone attack on Kremlin. That's the video the moment this alleged UAV drone struck the dome of the Kremlin. That video is on your screen. Russia and Russian authorities accusing Ukraine of attempting to attack the Kremlin with 2 drones overnight. The Kremlin decrying the alleged attack attempt as a terrorist act, saying Russian military security forces disabled the drones before they could strike. Alexei Goncharenko, Ukrainian parliamentarian, joining us live on the broadcast. Alexei, can you hear me, Alexei? Good evening. Yes, Alexei, Russia claiming that it was Ukrainian drones that struck the Kremlin. Can I get your response to this claim?
I'm parliamentarian. I'm not a military person, so I can't confirm it or I can't deny it. I don't have information, but I don't believe Russians and all their news. Maybe that was a coup d'etat in Russia and somebody from Russian unhappy generals or elites tried to kill Putin, if it's true. Also, I have a question why it is in the night, as I see. What Putin was doing in Kremlin. Kremlin is a workplace. It's not the place where he lives. So how he could be killed with a night attack, I can't understand. Also, it can be that everything was organized by Russia just to mobilize their people. But in any way, what I can confirm you, that Ukraine has all the right to attack any objects inside Russia. Absolutely, because Russia started unjustified war against my country, killed tens of thousands of people. And we have all rights according to international law for our self-defense, including on territory of Russia. And I should tell you that me personally, I would be happy to see Putin dead, because he deserves death. He is a tyrant and a murderer, and it would be the best option for the whole world, including Russia, Putin to be killed.
No, you're saying you'll be happy to see Putin dead?
Absolutely.
Is it,
That's
is
what
it,
he deserves.
As a parliamentarian in Ukraine, why do you say that?
Because Putin is an international war criminal. Because Putin organized genocide of Ukrainian people. Because Putin killed hundreds of thousands of people. Because Putin, International Criminal Court, issued a warrant to arrest Putin. But it's quite hard to arrest him. Still, he is leading Russian emperor. So definitely, that's the best option for the world. Putin to be killed as soon as possible. But again, that doesn't mean that all Russia is claiming now about this explosion that you're showing on the screen is true. I don't believe any Russian news or any Russian sources. They're lying all the time.
Russia also says that they reserve the right to retaliate, and they will retaliate at a time and place of their choosing. Would you want something like that right now? I mean, yeah.
We are not afraid of all these threats. Russia is doing everything they can to destroy our country for almost 10 years, but absolutely actively during the last year, even more. So we're not afraid of all their so-called retaliations. We don't want this war. We are ready to finish the war immediately when Russians will leave our territory. What we want is just to liberate our people. This war was started by Russia, and let them finish it. But in any way, again, we are not afraid of any of their threats.
But is there any official word on it? Oleksiy, you're sitting in Ukraine. We haven't heard from the Ukrainian government or the defense forces yet. Do you expect them to respond to this?
I don't know. They will decide it. You see me, yes, I'm in Ukraine. I'm in the parliament building now. Speaking about Ukrainian officials, they will decide to comment it or not. I don't know.
There's an official statement coming in from Zelensky, and Zelensky says Ukrainian troops will soon begin their offensive. He has just said in Finland that Ukrainian troops will soon begin their offensive, and he hopes he will get planes after that. So was this part of that plan, the escalation? Because he's also saying that the offensive will now begin. Oleksiy.
Don't say about escalation. That's Russia who started the war. Absolutely unjustified war. Never ever any Ukrainian soldier entered Russian territory. That's Russia which escalates all the time, attacking civilians, killing civilians, children and women. Just recently, several days ago, they aimed there in Uman, the residential building, killing 23 people, including 5 children. About what escalation we're speaking? Ukraine is ready to liberate all our territories. We will fight till our victory because it's existential for us. Russia is empire which started colonial war, and we need to win in this war, not just for ourselves, but for the whole world.
You at the beginning of this interview, you said that Russia could have staged it. Why do you believe they could have staged it?
Staged it? What does it mean?
So you said that Russia could have staged it. Russia could have done this attack by itself. You said they could have faked it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Russia is doing it all the time. That's their style. That's their playbook. To make some false attacks, false flag operations. That's something that they're doing all the time. Also, it can be something internal Russian. Maybe part of Russian elites finally tired from Putin and they want to kill him. I don't know. I just don't know.
My colleague Shavan Sen is also joining me. He was in the war zone last year. Shavan Sen was there for over 2 to 3 months in Ukraine. He's joining us on the broadcast. Shavan, Oleksiy Goncharenko is live with us. And we have 2 Ukrainian MPs live with us right now. Shavan, if you want to take the next question, go ahead.
Well, in fact, Vladimir Halaichuk is also going to join us on this broadcast. But Oleksiy, one final question that I want to also take from you. That is with regards to the fact that when the war actually began, the Ukrainian administration was hoping that there would be some sort of a negotiation with your Russian counterparts. There were multiple talks that actually happened at that point in time. Does this essentially mean right now that there is zero room for any talks with the Russians? Let me also try and go across to Vladimir Halaichuk, who's joining us on this broadcast. Mr. Halaichuk, thank you very much for speaking to Republic TV. We're seeing these dramatic images now coming in from the Kremlin. The attack that took place late last night, Kremlin essentially says that this was an attack organized by the Ukrainian authorities. What do you have to say about it?
Greetings. Thank you for the invitation. I can just repeat pretty much the main positions that my colleague announced in terms of I don't think you can say with any precision right now what sort of operation that is, since Russia cannot be trusted on pretty much anything that they say or do. They are well known for staging many operations under false flag. They're well known to even go as far as blowing up residential buildings in Russia in order to justify Chechen war. That one's sort of pretty much approved and a lot of evidence on. many such operations. So to the extent possible now, we can only speculate that it could be pretty much anything. The Russians could have staged it in order to give some explanation to whatever it is they're going to do next, and we can only suspect what it is. They may have also had an attack from within Russia, since we know infighting in the Kremlin and among different representatives of the so-called power blocks in Russia is ongoing. A lot of people are very unhappy with what's going on. A lot of people in Russia are losing a lot of money and losing their pensions, since it becomes more and more difficult to explain what they are trying to do in Ukraine. Yes, go ahead, Lee.
Mr. Halachuk, as far as this entire staged attack theory is concerned, many would then disagree, because Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has already indicated that the Ukrainians at this point in time would actually think of a counter-offensive, because over a year now into the war, we are seeing that you're only trying to defend your position. But for the first time, an indication essentially coming in from the topmost authorities in Ukraine that perhaps it's now time to carry on with a counter-offensive.
Well, I would disagree with you, because we spoke about counter-offensive from the very first day of invasion. We tried to negotiate with Russians in the beginning of the invasion to understand what was really going on, because the goals that Russia declared, which was pretty much to wipe Ukraine out of the map of the world, was obviously unrealistic. So for some moment in time there, we thought that maybe it would make sense to actually speak to them to find out what it is that they want. Because what they were saying in public they wanted was completely unrealistic and just madness. Unfortunately, we could not find any ground for any productive negotiations. Therefore, Ukraine, early in the early days of the invasion, we made it very clear that Ukraine's goals are to defend the country, and we do intend to liberate the country from Russian troops. So the counteroffensive has always been in the planning.
What I intended to actually ask
recently.
No, what I essentially indicated was the fact that all this while into the war, no such attacks have been carried out from the Ukrainian side as far as Russian targets are concerned. You haven't really carried out any attacks on the potential Russian targets. All this while, perhaps it is time that the Ukrainian authorities somewhere down the line feel the need to send across this message that Ukraine is now going to hit back and not just defend its own territory.
We've been hitting Russian targets for quite some time, including on the territory of Russia. On the border regions, the fighting is ongoing as we speak. There's fighting in the Belgorod and other regions which border Ukraine. These are very legitimate targets. However, this particular one, quite frankly, I don't know how much value this has in terms of a target. What we see now, and I quite frankly, I need to get more information about what's been said actually by the Russians themselves to have better analysis. But it looks nice on TV, but in terms of actual military value, I don't know whether you can call the Dome of Kremlin very valuable, let's put it that way, target at this point in time. Ukraine is hitting supply lines. We're hitting places where the troops are concentrated, where the machinery is concentrated. And yes, we have been speaking about counteroffensive, and it's ongoing, as a matter of fact, for quite some time now. So this particular development is still to be researched and evaluated. But like I said, I do not exclude any of those possibilities that we have discussed and that my colleague before me has mentioned, that it could be pretty much anything coming within Russia, from outside of Russia, and it's quite possible that we will not find out anytime soon what exactly that was.
Well, in fact, Mr. Halaichuk, this also comes at a time when reports are essentially emerging, which basically quotes the FSB. And the FSB essentially is indicating that Ukrainians are now carrying out intelligence operations in Crimea. All that put together, it seems that Ukraine now wants to up the ante and perhaps carry on with the offensive, because all this while, no matter how much you say that the border areas is where you're fighting, Russian targets are being hit at, but it seems that somewhere down the line, the administration in Ukraine now wants to send across a very strong message that we're going to hit you very hard.
Again, that message that we're going to hit you hard has been sent very early in the days of the invasion. Since Russia has not indicated any willingness to hold any real negotiations, the only option that was left to Ukraine was military option. We can carry out any sort of military operations anywhere in Ukraine, including Crimea, of course, and we had made it no secret that we will use everything that we have at our disposal. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot more than just these lonely drones flying around Russia. We do intend to liberate Ukrainian soil from the Russian troops. And we do intend to make sure that Russia becomes incapable for the nearest future, for foreseeable future, to again start such aggression as they did right now, because that's the only way to ensure that not only Ukraine has a chance to live in peace, but the rest of the European continent. This aggression has already had dramatic implications for the European continent and for the world, as a matter of fact. Therefore, people around the world understand that Ukraine is fighting for its survival and protecting the rest of the world, since Russia has shown no regret to the value of the human lives. Therefore, we understand that the operations that Ukraine carries on now are very legitimate operations to beat aggressor back and to demonstrate that the crimes that they've committed will not go unpunished.
One final question that I would like to take with you, Mr. Halaichuk, is that in this fog of war, both sides are always accused of indulging in propaganda. You would say that this is Russian propaganda. The Russians would say that this is Ukrainian propaganda. What is essentially happening is that this is only dragging on. India has had a very firm position on this entire matter. India has been advocating that this is not the era of war. There should be dialogue. There should be talks that should take place, because that's the only way forward. Because even if you wish, that's not going to be the reality, that Russia is going to still be your neighbor. Talks perhaps is the only way out.
No other country in the world wishes for peace more than Ukraine does. We have indicated in the very early years of Russia's war against Ukraine, which started back in 2014 with annexation of Crimea, that we will negotiate we will find ways to make peace with our neighbor. We lived in peace, as a matter of fact, for many, many years, and there's no reason that we shouldn't find, again, the solution to our problems. However, Putin's regime has chosen a completely mad way to approach the problems that we have. He declared Ukraine did not exist as a country. He declared that Ukrainian nation is non-existent. There's no Ukrainian language, so on and so forth. He left us no room for negotiations. Therefore, we have only option left, which we're using now, which is to defeat the aggressor in military way, and then maybe a chance for negotiations will present itself.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Halaichuk, for joining us on this broadcast. It does appear now that this is yet another escalation in the war between Ukraine and Russia, a story that we'll closely track on the other side of the short break.
जब हर एक भारतीय की शक्ति लगेगी, हर एक भारतीय का परिश्रम लगेगा, विकसित भारत का सपना भी हम जल्द से जल्द पूरा कर पाएंगे। मुझे विश्वास है कि इसी भावना को रिपब्लिक नेटवर्क भी निरंतर सशक्त करता रहेगा। और अब तो अर्नब ने बता भी दिया है, वो ग्लोबली जा रहे हैं। भारत की आवाज को एक नई ताकत मिलेगी। मेरी उनको भी बहुत शुभकामना है। इतना बड़ा काम ऐसे ही नहीं हुआ है दोस्तों। इसके लिए पहले आधार को संवैधानिक दर्जा दिया गया। 45 करोड़ से अधिक जनधन बैंक खाते मिशन मोड पर खोले गए। अभी तक 28 लाख करोड़ रुपए डीबीटी से करोड़ों लाभार्थियों तक पहुंचाए गए। डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर, कोई बिचौलिया नहीं, कोई कट की कंपनी नहीं, कोई काली कमाई करने वाले लोग नहीं। और डीबीटी का सीधा सीधा मतलब है, डीबीटी यानी कमीशन बंद, लीकेज बंद। इस एक व्यवस्था से ही दर्जनों योजनाओं, कार्यक्रमों में ट्रांसपेरेंसी आ गई।
You're now a part of the Narendra Modi-led present-day government. How do you see the different styles of functioning? And do you think that the style of governance is what leads us to this track on transformation?
The capability, expertise and the attention to detail, that insistence has been there with Prime Minister Modi. In 9 years, Prime Minister Modi has built 74 additional airports, heliports and waterports. We've doubled it to 148. But our ambition does not stop there. In the next 5 years, we will take that number to upwards of 200 in our country.
What are the thresholds of transformation? What must be continually transformed as an individual, as a society, as a country to stay relevant? We are talking about civilizational reawakening. What does transformation mean?
Look, change is an order of the world. Everything has to change. If anything doesn't change and if it gets stagnant, then you have to see that something is not right there. But change towards the better, we call transformation. So the baseline for transformation is physical, mental, emotional and spiritual comfort.
अब जो मैं बताने जा रहा हूं वो जानकर रिपब्लिक टीवी के दर्शकों को भी जरूर अच्छा लगेगा। आपको याद होगा 2019 में इसी रिपब्लिक समिट में मैंने कहा था कि पीएम आवास योजना के तहत हमने 5 साल में 1.5 करोड़ परिवारों को घर दिया है। अब ये आंकड़ा बढ़कर 3.25 करोड़ से ज्यादा हो चुका है। इनमें से ज्यादातर घर, उसका मालिकाना हक हमारी माताओं बहनों के नाम पर है। करोड़ों गरीब बहनें
Staying with that big breaking news now coming in, it appears now Russian President Vladimir Putin in all likelihood would be operating from a bunker. This comes at a time when Kremlin essentially says that there was an attempt that was made by Ukraine to assassinate Russian President Vladimir Putin. In fact, Kremlin goes on to say that the Russian air defense system intercepted 2 Ukrainian drones. They say that this attempt was made to assassinate Vladimir Putin, but it turns out that Putin was not present at the Kremlin when the attack took place. The Ukrainian, on the other hand, essentially say that this was nothing but yet another attempt that has been made by the Russians to stage at a time when the Russians are facing a massive defeat. Now, this is what the Ukrainians have to say. A short while back, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky at a press conference in Finland essentially indicated that this was time for a counter-offensive. Ukrainian parliamentarians who have come on board and have essentially said that this is not the first time that Russians are being hit. And as far as Moscow is concerned, the fact that 2 Ukrainian drones made an attempt to carry on an attack, that is now being completely rubbished by the Ukrainian side. Remains to be seen how exactly is this taken forward, because as far as Kremlin is concerned, they've already issued a warning that there are going to be retaliatory measures that would be taken by the Russians. This, they say, that would be as per their choosing. This comes at a time when we have seen intense battle that is undergoing in Bakhmut air region, and not just that, several other places from where the Russians had to actually retreat. But the Russians, on the other hand, say that they've witnessed success in the Donbass region itself. Now, the war still seems to be only escalating with no room for negotiations at any stage. We've also seen the attempt that has been made by Russia to basically bring China on board. You've had both the defense ministers meeting in the national capital at the sidelines of the SCO summit, which happened just about a couple of days ago, in which the discussion has essentially taken place as far as the Ukraine war is concerned. India, on the other hand, has taken in the cautious position on this entire matter. Let me also try and go across to my colleague Niranjan, who's joining us from the Mumbai newsroom. Let's try and recap of what we know so far. The versions that have come in from both sides. This is what the Russians have to say. Russians say that their air defense system intercepted 2 Ukrainian drones. They say that this was an attempt to assassinate Vladimir Putin. This comes just about a few days before the Victory Day, when the parade actually takes place. Remember, just about a year ago, that was the time the Russians had essentially taken that position that they were winning the war. Ukrainians, on the other side, they haven't really made any official statements so far. Only Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, in a press conference in Finland, said that counter-offensive is a must. But at the same time, Ukrainian parliamentarians who have spoken to Republic TV a short while back say that there is a possibility that this could be completely staged by the Russians. They believe that this is only to garner sympathy within Russia and also to drum up the kind of confidence that they need at this point in time. Ukrainians say that's only because they're facing a defeat in this war. Let me quickly go back to my colleague Niranjan, who's tracking this story very closely. Niranjan, both sides right now would be indulging in what happens inevitably in a war, that's propaganda. But what is it that you're picking up from the Russian side? Russians say that they're going to take this a notch up.
Not just that, Shaman, in fact, we have a breaking news update. Zelensky's press secretaries commented on the UAV attack. It's the first comment coming in from Zelensky's office. And they claim we have no information about the so-called night attacks on the Kremlin. But as President Zelensky has repeatedly stated, Ukraine directs all available forces and means to liberate its territories and not to attack others. So they're sort of trying to deny the attack without saying as much, but saying that they have no information about the so-called night attacks, but saying that they don't really want to attack others, and that's not in their game plan. But according to the Wagner Group, the Ukrainian offensive has begun. Active phase maybe in the coming days. So that's an official word coming in also from Zelensky's office. And as we stay with that, a word also coming in from the Wagner Group that alleges that the offensive has already begun and that this attack could be in that scheme of things. Shravan, that's the big breaking news update coming in. I think we have Sviatoslav Yurash. Sviatoslav Yurash is a Ukrainian MP joining us live. Yurash, good evening from here in India. Russia claims it was Ukrainian drones that hit the Kremlin. Now, as a Ukrainian MP, do you want to comment on that claim?
I mean, the reality is Russia claimed many things and many times and has lied many times in its claims. I mean, the fact of the matter is very clear, but the facts on the ground. I mean, the fact is that the groups in Russia have formed, especially in opposition to the war that Russia has initiated and expanded on 24th February. And there are enemies that Mr. Putin has all over the world with his imperialistic policies, not just in Europe, but also in Asia and Syria. And when you look at Africa, what he does there, you look at what he does in Latin America with Venezuela, and then you see many enemies of his appearing. So to clearly portray here as this, that, and the other is just another attempt by Kremlin to justify what it does in Ukraine all over the world and kills in the name of empire that it wants to build.
But, you know, Russia has pinned the blame on Ukraine while saying that there could be retaliatory measures. And Zelensky has just said that offensive will now begin. The timing of the comment and the timing of this alleged UAV strike seem to be indicating towards just one aspect, that this war is just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse.
The reality is very simple. Russia has occupied different parts of my country, and we want to liberate our country and choose our own future and not bow down to the old empire and to its wishes on our destiny. So there should be no surprise about the fact that we are fighting back and we are choosing to show to the world that our nation does want to define its own future. And if Russia wants to stop that by means of force, we shall resist it in every single way possible.
Yurash, this appears to be far more serious than simply basically indulging in some sort of a propaganda. We are talking about an assassination attempt of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Of course, the Ukrainians call him a war criminal. But having said that, at this point in time, when the entire world is essentially looking forward to an end to this war, if at all this attempt was made by the Ukrainian side, don't you think that this is only fueling the war further?
I mean, Russia can stop this war at any moment. It can withdraw from Ukraine and let us choose our own future. So the point here is very simple. Russia can choose to stop this war at any moment. If we choose to stop fighting, we are destroyed. As Mr. Putin has claimed time and time again, in his essays he has written, in his addresses that are available on the internet, he doesn't see Ukrainians as a nation, doesn't want to see Ukraine as a state, and wants to take it over. We don't agree with that. By every poll and measurement, we don't agree with that. So the point here, we are fighting for the right to have a future. And Russia has shown its unwillingness to compromise anything. We have engaged for 9 years with that negotiating process about the east of Ukraine, and they have responded to that with launching a full-scale invasion, which has engulfed my country from 24th February, causing immeasurable harm, suffering, destruction, and loss. So the point here is that Russia can stop this war any moment it wishes, but we shall fight on to liberate our country and to let us choose our own future.
Yes.
Yurash,
now
why don't you also try and explain this to our audience in terms of
Go ahead, Shaban. Go ahead, Shaban.
Sorry, Niranjan, I'll just take one more question. I'll just take one more question with Yuraj. Yuraj, you need to explain this to the world too, that you are saying that you don't want this war, but at the same time you say that the counter-offensive is only going to go up, and that's exactly what we are witnessing at this point in time. So how does this end? This is only going to linger further, which is not benefiting Ukraine, or for that matter, the entire world.
We are liberating our country. That is what's happening in the counteroffensive. I mean, the fact of the matter is that when you look at all the imperial powers, if Britain would invade India tomorrow and would fight a war with you for a year, killing, murdering, destroying, and butchering, and then say, well, we just take, say, West Bengal, and we have peace. Would Indians be fine with that? I don't think so. So the same goes for any claim that Russia stakes on our territory. We are fighting back. We are pushing them away from territories they've occupied for one simple reason. We understand that if we say so many claim that just stop, that we're delaying this war to be fought by our sons, by our grandsons. We don't want that. This is a challenge for our generation, and we are going to win it.
Yuraj, Yuraj, the question here is not about the fight that is being put up by the Ukrainians. That's not what I'm asking. No war basically can continue, at least in this era. And that's why everyone is saying this, that why not have a dialogue? Because at the end of the day, as the Indian Prime Minister has also said, that this is certainly not the era of war. And you can't perhaps wish away that Russia is no longer going to be your neighbor. They are going to remain your neighbor. So at some point in time, you will have to do the talking.
We've tried to do the talking time and time again. Putin has rejected it time and time again. The reason is very simple. I mean, you can read it in the essay that he has written on the fact that he doesn't want the Ukrainian state to exist. You can watch his addresses when he talks time and time again about his imperialistic theories about the fact that Ukrainians should be a part of the Russian nation. I mean, it's very simple for Mr. Putin. Whatever he gets right now as applause, he'll use to recuperate and then invade my country. And again, we don't want our children or our grandchildren to fight this war for us. This is a challenge for our time, and we cannot give in to Mr. Putin's imperialistic ambition. We tried negotiating with him for 9 years, in response of which he was full-scale invasion of Ukraine, murder of countless tens of thousands at the very least, displacement of 10 million, destruction of numerous cities all over Ukraine, and the Kyiv I'm sitting in right now. And the fact of the matter is, we have pushed the Russians away from our capital, from the north, from the east, from the south. And we'll keep pushing them out of our country until they leave our country alone. And the war can stop tomorrow if Russia chooses to stop its empire building and to let our nation choose its own future.
Yurash, the immediate fallout, of course, of this, if at all Russia decides to retaliate, and there could be, more deaths, more destruction, like we have seen, and thousands of people have already died. So we don't know whether the UAV or the drone was made in Ukraine, but I think we're expecting those details to come out at some point. And if it does happen to be a Ukrainian drone, I'm not so sure that the global opinion will be in favor of Ukraine.
I mean, first, you have to understand that we aren't seeing any facts at the moment. We are seeing that Russians are claiming many things, and they are claiming things and lied many, many times. So I'm not seeing any, I would see any shock if the facts come out to be very different than whatever the claims exist right now. But again, it's very important to understand that Russia has launched a full-scale invasion that is the largest war in Europe since Second World War. And again, they are engaged in a war in which they have tried to kill our president, to destroy our nation. They are doing unspeakable things to the people that occupy right now in the east and south of our country. We have shown the world time and time again that we can win this, and we'll continue fighting back until Russia leaves us alone. And that's about it.
Thank you for joining us here on Republic TV, and we will look forward to connecting with you again. But Shravan, this is a big escalation. There are some reports that are coming in that Putin has held an emergency meeting and that he's operating from a bunker. None of these reports we can confirm independently, but we can tell you that Russia is already speaking of retaliatory measures. So we're keeping our eyes, all eyes on what Russia does next. Shravan, you were there. You reported on the war. Given the developments this evening, how do you see Russia responding?
Well, this entire theory that has now been perhaps pushed by the Kremlin, that two UAVs managed to actually reach the very place where Putin usually stays. There are two questions that one needs to ask. First, how exactly did the drone reach all the way closer to Kremlin, which is one of the most guarded institutions in Russia? So there is very little scope that any UAV would have actually escaped the air defense system of Russia, and that too in the heart of Moscow. So that's one big question, and that is the reason why perhaps the Ukrainians seem to be now putting across this entire theory that this could be staged. Why exactly would this be staged? Let's not forget, that's the Victory Day, which is basically coming in. A year back, multiple assurances were basically made to the Russians, and that essentially being that a full takeover of Ukraine is going to actually happen. They're going to march over Kyiv. That was a promise that was made long back. But at the same time, remember, what Ukraine has actually been able to achieve is to ensure that the Russians move out of locations which were very key for the Russian operation, especially down south in Ukraine. Remember, there are several areas which were first captured by the Russians, which have now been taken over. So somewhere down the line, it is going to be important for Russia to basically justify the war. However, having said that, for the Russians, remember what they have been able to do is that despite the multiple sanctions that have been put by the West, they've been able to survive. And not just that, they've been able to find a way out from all these sanctions. At the end of the day, the question that has also been asked is that the role that the West has played, has the West really egged Ukraine to continue with this war and not really put them on the path of dialogue? And that's exactly where the problem essentially lies, because remember, when the war actually began, there were multiple tracks of negotiations that were going on. Today, as it stands, there is no negotiation that is going on between Russia, or for that matter, even from the Ukrainian side. We've not really seen any attempt that has been made as far as the negotiations are concerned. So what does this essentially mean? Russia certainly sees this as an opportunity to hit back, and hit back perhaps,
Shravan, we have two guests joining us live from Russia right now. One is from Russia, one is from Kyiv. I'm introducing both our panelists, both our experts rather. One is Vaishli Kashin, who's from the Higher School of Economics and also is a Russian researcher, live from Moscow this evening. And I also have Roman Mova, who's a journalist, live from Kyiv this evening. Let me start with Vaishli. Mr. Kashin, what's your or the Russian media takeaway from this, what Russia is calling a provocation and escalation in the war?
Basically, the information is quite limited so far. According to what is published, there was an attempt to attack the Kremlin palace, which is the working residence of the Russian president, with 2 drones. And the attack was unsuccessful because of some protective measures. However, this is the first precedent of such an attack against the residence of the Russian president, and the Russian official position is that it was an attempt to assassinate the Russian leader, and there will be some kind of retaliation. It's not specified what kind of retaliation will take place and when.
Let's also get the Ukrainian version on this entire story. We have seen the kind of escalation that has taken place. Roma, why don't you put this into perspective? Have you really heard anything from the Ukrainian authorities? There has been one tweet that has been put out by Mikhail Podolak, but anything else that you're picking up from the Ukrainian side? Are they saying that this is a staged operation carried out by the Russians?
I have not heard such allegations, but I've seen the official statement of the press secretary of the president of Ukraine, who basically has stated that they do not claim any responsibility and are not familiar with the strike and have nothing to do with it. They specify that the focus is to liberate the conquered territories and not to strike on Russian soil. So Ukraine does not claim responsibility for the attack.
Let's also take it forward with regards to the developments that are essentially taking place. The breaking news now coming in. Some reports essentially suggesting that Russian President Vladimir Putin perhaps would be operating out of a bunker. This comes at a time when the threat perception has only increased with that assassination attempt that has been made. Russia is now blaming Ukraine, and they say that they hold the right to retaliate. In fact, reports are also coming in that there's an emergency meeting that is basically underway right now in the Kremlin. No official word really coming in from the Ukrainian side, barring one statement coming in from the press secretary. Let me just quickly once again go back to Roma. Roma, we've heard as far as this one statement coming in from the press secretary, but this also comes at a time when Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in a press conference in Finland essentially said that this stage is now the stage of counteroffensive.
Yes, but we do not specify when this counteroffensive will go, and it's discouraged to even mention it or discuss it. So it's supposed to be sometime in the spring/summer, but there is very little info on it. It's kept secretive.
You know, let me also bring in Vaishli Keshin here. Vaishli, now the onus will also be on Russia to prove that this was a Ukrainian drone attack. You said the details were limited, but you expect Russia at some point to give out details of the drone, the make of the drone, to prove its Ukrainian credentials, perhaps?
Well, certainly, usually after such incidents, additional data starts to appear sometime later. If the drones were launched from some place inside Moscow, which is quite possible since they're very small, then there probably will be an attempt to catch those responsible. So I believe there will be additional statements. Interestingly, the attack happened during the night, but the first statements from the Russian officials happened in the afternoon. So they've been accumulating data. We'll see what actually they will come up with, and probably there will be some proof or some materials shown on TV and other media.
Yes, and those are videos coming in. In fact, I'm going to stay with those videos as I take the next question with Roman also joining us. Roman is in Kyiv. Roman, looking at the response from Ukraine, and I'm reading out the response that came in from the office of the president of Ukraine, Zelensky's office, the advisor in Zelensky's office, who says that as for the drones over the Kremlin, it's all predictable. Russia is clearly preparing a large-scale terror attack. That's why it first detains a large, allegedly subversive group in Crimea, and then it demonstrates drones over the Kremlin. First of all, Ukraine wages an exclusively defensive war and does not attack targets on the territory of the Russian Federation. What for? This does not solve any military issue, but it gives Russian Federation grounds to justify its attacks on civilians. Secondly, we are watching with interest the growing number of mishaps and incidents that are taking place in different parts of Russian Federation. Emergence of unidentified unmanned aerial vehicles at energy facilities or on Kremlin's territory can only indicate the guerrilla activities of local resistance forces. Why does Ukraine believe there are local resistance forces? Because we've seen in some cases Ukrainians had roles in attacks on Russian soil. But why are Ukrainians of the view that it could be a Russian insider role? Roman.
Because they do not claim responsibilities themselves and are looking for someone else who is possibly to blame. And the only other party that makes sense would probably be Russian forces. I don't. Those are guesses, to be quite honest. There is very little information to speculate on, so those are just statements without any grounding for them. This is very recent information. I don't know what this is based on.
Yeah. Kashin, where is Putin now? Do we have more details? Because some of these reports suggesting...
He is in his countryside residence. He normally spends most of the time in his countryside residence just near Moscow. So that's his normal activity. He is working sometimes in this palace, which was attacked, but usually during summertime he spends quite a lot of time in the countryside. So it's like I don't think his normal activities are affected in any way.
Yes. Okay. I request both you gentlemen to stay with us. I need to take a short commercial break. We're taking a short commercial break and coming back with all the breaking news updates from Russia and Ukraine on this attack on the Kremlin. Russia claims it was an assassination attempt on Putin, the Russian president. We're taking a break. Back with the breaking news coverage. Stay tuned.
Amity faculty have filed over 1,800 patents. Yet another reason why Amity has been ranked among the top for innovation achievements.
2016 में जब मैं देशवासियों को कहता था आपकी उंगली पर आपकी बैंक होगी, तो ये लोग मेरा मजाक उड़ाते थे। मोदी जी बताइए, गरीब आलू टमाटर डिजिटली कैसे खरीदेगा? आज आप देखिए, आपकी फिल्म सिटी में भी चाय की दुकान से लेकर लिट्टी चोखे के ठेले तक डिजिटल पेमेंट हो रहा है या नहीं? फाइव जी का रोल आउट हुआ है। हम दुनिया में सबसे तेज गति से आगे बढ़े हैं। 5G को लेकर भारत ने जो तेजी दिखाई है, जिस तरह अपनी खुद की टेक्नोलॉजी विकसित की है, उसकी पूरी दुनिया में चर्चा हो रही है।
Mr. Vaishnav, how soon can we change all the trains in the country? Why do we need bullet trains? Why do we need fast trains at all? That's a transformation. So from tinkering to transformation, tell me what really has changed and what is changing.
Today, railways thought process, railways mindset is only and only about performance, only and only about meeting people's expectations, only and only about transforming the economy. Our Prime Minister really thinks that India will become a superpower, and he believes that if we lay the foundation right, then the country will be in the right direction.
हमने सत्ता के माइंडसेट को भी बदला है। हम सेवा का माइंडसेट लेकर आए हैं। हमने गरीब कल्याण को अपना माध्यम बनाया है। हमने तुष्टीकरण नहीं, संतुष्टीकरण को अपना आधार बनाया है। इस अप्रोच ने देश के गरीब और मध्यम वर्ग के लिए सुरक्षा का कवच का निर्माण कर दिया है। भ्रष्टाचारियों का कितना भी बड़ा गठजोड़ क्यों बना ले, सारे भ्रष्टाचारी एक ही मंच पे आ जाए, सारे परिवारवादी एक ही जगह पे आ जाए, लेकिन मोदी अपने रास्ते से लौटने वाला नहीं। भ्रष्टाचार और परिवारवाद के खिलाफ मेरी लड़ाई जारी रहेगी दोस्तों, और मैं देश को इन चीजों से मुक्त कराने के लिए प्रण लेकर के निकला हुआ इंसान हूँ। मुझे आपके आशीर्वाद चाहिए। साथियों, आज देश में जो बदलाव आ रहा है उसकी दिशा क्या है, इसको मापने का एक तरीका है अर्थव्यवस्था के विकास और विस्तार की गति। भारत को $1 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था बनने में लगभग 60 साल लगे। 2014 तक हम लोग किसी तरह $2 ट्रिलियन के मार्ग तक पहुंच पाए, यानी 7 दशक में $2 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था। लेकिन आज हमारी सरकार के 9 वर्ष बाद भारत आज लगभग $3.5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी वाला देश है। कुछ लोगों को मोदी से इतनी परेशानी क्यों है, और आज इसकी वजह मैं भी रिपब्लिक टीवी के दर्शकों को बताना चाहता हूँ। ये जो नाराजगी दिख रही है ना, ये जो बवाल हो रहा है, वो इसलिए है क्योंकि कुछ लोगों की काली कमाई के रास्ते मोदी ने हमेशा हमेशा के लिए बंद कर दिए।
Getting in some more breaking news right now as we speak, not just this attack on the Kremlin where Russia claims that Putin was targeted, it was an assassination attempt. Getting in details of another possible attack, another possible attempt on Moscow. Emergency services reporting that a UAV or a drone has been found in the forest near Kolomna in Moscow region. Fragments of a wing, an engine and a small funnel were discovered at the site. So was there another drone attack in Moscow? Not just this that hit the Kremlin, another drone attack in the Moscow region. That's the breaking news update coming in. We'll take a short break and come back. Stay tuned.
जब हर एक भारतीय की शक्ति लगेगी, हर एक भारतीय का परिश्रम लगेगा, विकसित भारत का सपना भी हम जल्द से जल्द पूरा कर पाएंगे। मुझे विश्वास है कि इसी भावना को रिपब्लिक नेटवर्क भी निरंतर सशक्त करता रहेगा। और अब तो अर्नब ने बता भी दिया है, वो ग्लोबली जा रहे हैं, भारत की आवाज को एक नई ताकत मिलेगी। मेरी उनको भी बहुत शुभकामना है। इतना बड़ा काम ऐसे नहीं हुआ है तो इसके लिए पहले आधार को संवैधानिक दर्जा दिया गया। 45 करोड़ से अधिक जनधन बैंक खाते मिशन मोड पर खोले गए। अभी तक 28 लाख करोड़ रुपए डीबीटी से करोड़ों लाभार्थियों तक पहुंचाए गए। डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर, कोई बिचौलिया नहीं, कोई कटकी कंपनी नहीं, कोई काली कमाई करने वाले लोग नहीं। और डीबीटी का सीधा सीधा मतलब है डीबीटी यानी कमीशन बंद, लीकेज बंद। इस एक व्यवस्था से ही दर्जनों योजनाओं कार्यक्रमों में ट्रांसपेरेंसी आ गई।
You're now a part of the Narendra Modi-led present-day government. How do you see the different styles of functioning? And do you think that the style of governance is what leads us to this track on transformation?
The capability, expertise and the attention to detail, that insistence has been there with Prime Minister Modi. In 9 years, Prime Minister Modi has built 74 additional airports, heliports and waterports. We've doubled it to 148. But our ambition does not stop there. In the next 5 years, we will take that number to upwards of 200 in our country.
What are the thresholds of transformation? What must be continually transformed as an individual, as a society, as a country to stay relevant? We are talking about civilizational reawakening. What does transformation mean?
Look, change is an order of the world. Everything has to change. If anything doesn't change and if it gets stagnant, then you have to see that something is not right there. But change towards the better, we call transformation. So the baseline for transformation is physical, mental, emotional and spiritual comfort.
अब जो मैं बताने जा रहा हूं वो जानकर रिपब्लिक टीवी के दर्शकों को भी जरूर अच्छा लगे।
Thank you for joining us here on Republic TV. The big breaking story this moment, Russia claims there's been an assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin, the Russian president. He was not at the Kremlin at the time of the alleged drone attack. And we're getting in more news that a second drone attack was reported. Another drone intercepted in the Moscow region. And that's another video that's now coming in. Let's show you the video that's coming in on Republic TV, the latest video of the second attack. The footage on your screen reportedly depicting the moment when the second drone, I repeat, the second drone hit Kremlin. This is that video. So there were two attacks. An attack on the dome, which clearly showed one of the drones hitting the dome of the Kremlin. And this is the second alleged attack. So this is the second drone that hit. And we're getting in breaking news that another drone was found on the outskirts of Russia, outskirts of Moscow, I beg your pardon, outskirts of Moscow, but within the Moscow region, and which makes it all the more interesting and curious, because which means it's not just limited to one drone attack on the Kremlin or in Moscow. There have been multiple attacks overnight, and this is the fresh footage that we've accessed here on Republic TV that clearly shows one drone approaching the Kremlin. And if two drones hit the Kremlin, this was without any doubt, a targeted attack on the Kremlin. Let's see who we have live with us this evening as we get you the details. We're waiting for more details to come in, but Roman is still live with us. Roman is joining us live from Kyiv. Roman, you're looking at this video. This is a second video that the Russian media claim showing the drone or a second drone hitting the Kremlin. So you had that first drone that hit a dome, and this is the second one that hit another tower perhaps nearby. Roman.
Same drone, but from the different angle. I think it's the same dome and the same flagpole. From the news outlets I've been reading, I've seen this being covered as the same hit, but from the different angle, but I'm not certain. Oh, also, I wanted to update that currently in Ukraine there is massive air raid going on, so potentially a retaliation bombing of some sorts is getting started. The alarm is in half of the country by now.
That air sirens have been sounded. Roman, air sirens have been sounded in Kyiv?
Yes, air sirens in Kyiv and most of the regions, entire eastern and half of center, and it will probably go further, but by now it's more than half the country.
Breaking news that we're getting straight from Kyiv. Our colleague Roman, who's joining us live from Kyiv. He's a journalist there, saying that the air sirens have been sounded, and that means that there is perhaps some air retaliation, perhaps from the Russian side, or they're anticipating a Russian response to this Kremlin attack. Patikrit Payne is also joining us on the broadcast. Patikrit, there are multiple videos emerging that show that there was an attack on the Kremlin. Some in Ukraine claim that Russia could have staged it, but why would Russia stage it? There is a third drone, we are told, that was found on the outskirts of the Moscow region, so it's not a single drone attack. Perhaps there were several, some statements saying that there was 16 minutes of a gap between the strikes of the two UAVs on the Kremlin. Patikrit, how do you see the situation unfolding?
Well, Niranjan, first of all, if we look at in the past the kind of swarm drone attacks being done by Houthis against the Saudi, petroleum installations of Saudi Aramco, even the best of the air defense systems such as Patriot could not stop those swarm attacks. Which vindicates to a certain extent that the possibility of this kind of attack cannot be ruled out, even if someone says that Russia has a very strong and a tight air defense system, because often those air defense systems find it difficult to distinguish between an incoming small drone and a bird. Secondly, I think, unfortunately today the whole war is getting out of the control of Zelensky. And we are entering a danger zone from a point from where there is no, the point of return is very difficult. There are two reasons for this. This entire war from day one could have been stopped. The West had an intention, unfortunately, to make sure that it continues. If you look at the Soviet Union, which had disintegrated, there was absolutely no reason for NATO to come into Ukraine. I mean, there was, if the Americans had seen the Russians putting their missile system in the backyard and Mexico, there would have been repercussions as well. Today, what has happened, you have Russia, which is finding it difficult to contain and decimate the Ukrainians because of a huge arsenal that is being supplied by the West. So today, it's a de facto Russia versus NATO, the war that's going on. And Russia has been cornered to a place from where tremendous pressure is already there on Vladimir Putin to take the next step in terms of unleashing the whole Russian arsenal on Ukraine and perhaps beyond Ukraine. And that's where I think the danger zone comes, because whether it's the destruction and the sabotage of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline or many other assets of Russia, that there are clear footprints of NATO in it. So whether the Western Europe, I'm keeping aside United States for the time being, whether Western Europe is ready if the war goes beyond the contours of Ukraine and Russia and moves into Western Europe, that is a question. And I think whether it comes to the price of energy and other things, the whole world will suffer. I repeat, we are entering into a danger zone where Ukraine is no more into the control of these things, whether it has been done by the Ukrainians with Western assets or whether it has been done by partisans or other groups which work on behalf of the West against the Russian authorities. Either way, Vladimir Putin right now would be under tremendous pressure to unleash a new wave of attacks, which might involve far more powerful arsenals. And I repeat, the war might go beyond the contours of Ukraine and Russia into spaces for which Western Europe and rest of the world might not be ready. I am not trying to profess anything, but we are entering into a dangerous zone of conflict from which the whole world will no more be immune from. We have already seen the kind of price the world has faced and paid because of the rise in the price of essential commodities, because of the rise in price of oil. Many countries have gone bankrupt because of this. Today, this kind of attack, a swarm drone attack, is not entirely impossible. We have to find out what else has happened, but technicalities do not count. Emotions are very high in Russia today. We should not be surprised if there is a new wave of retaliation. And I repeat, that retaliation is beyond the contours of Ukraine, and spillover effect in other countries of Western Europe are felt. Niranjan.
Yes, in fact, we're getting in some more breaking news updates now. Russia, Ukraine has responded saying that Russia is preparing for large-scale terrorist attack. Ukraine wages an exclusively defensive war and does not attack targets on the territory of the Russian Federation. So Ukraine is denying that it targeted the Kremlin. So officially they're denying that they targeted the Kremlin. But of course, they will do that, isn't it, Patikrit?
Well, if you look at the kind of defensive statement that has been put up by Zelensky, it shows that they are a little jittery right now because they know that Russia, in spite of being a wounded, literally a wounded cat cornered in a place, the kind of arsenal that Russia has, both nuclear and non-nuclear. I think the world knows it. I think for quite some time, Russia had restrained from using its most lethal weapons against Ukraine. But I think right now, Vladimir Putin is under tremendous pressure. If we keep an eye on the talk shows happening inside Russia, I think there's a lot of mockery which is happening of Vladimir Putin, and he is being put under tremendous pressure. We have to understand that he is being put under tremendous pressure to unleash the next wave of attacks on Ukraine and end the war, because there's a fatigue that is creeping inside Russia because the war has got elongated for a long time. And that's where the danger lies, because when you corner somebody which is finding it difficult to win a conventional battle against very superior NATO arsenal, the only other option, God forbid, left for Russia is to showcase and portray and perhaps, God forbid, threaten to use its tactical nuclear weapons, which can have devastating consequences. But unfortunately, this is what I believe. NATO has pushed the envelope too far. And if the war goes beyond the contours of Ukraine, the question is this: are the democratic countries of Western Europe and Central Europe ready for the consequences? If we look at the history of Russia, the kind of Soviet war they fought against the Germans during World War II, I think they are ready to fight it out. Whether the democratic countries of Western Europe and Central Europe and whether the people are ready to fight this war, that's a question mark. So I think the leadership of Central Europe and Western Europe, and especially of United States, must introspect as to, first of all, whether this war was ready or not, and whether now they should actually pull the curtain on it and stop it. Because if they keep on pushing the envelope, if they keep on supplying weapon systems to Ukraine, there will be retaliation. I think the next generation of unleashing of a wave of attack by Russia would have devastating consequences. And I repeat, it might spill over beyond contours of Ukraine into Poland and other countries, including Germany. Germany and other Central European and Western European countries have already suffered tremendously because of this war. Price of energy has gone up. Nord Stream has been sabotaged. That was a lifeline of Germany for its energy. And there are reports where Donald Trump is saying that when he's asked who did it, he said that I don't want my country to be in trouble, so I will not name who did it. But I would certainly say that it was not Russia. That hints a lot of things as to how this war has. Unfortunately, the military-industrial complexes will make a lot of money in Niranjan, and at the cost of not just lives of people, but the whole world, which is already paying price in terms of the kind of energy price rise which has gone up. So I think when it comes to the war, I repeat, at the cost of reputation, I might say this, that the possibility of a spillover effect, the possibility of devastating arsenal being unleashed cannot be ruled out. Sadly, today, I think a lot more people would be dying, God forbid. I feel very sorry to say this, but I do not buy the idea that some are saying that it is being staged by the Russians, because Vladimir Putin would not try to project himself like this, where his air defense system is not being able to counter a drone. So the possibility of the Ukrainians or others, Ukraine supporters doing it from Ukraine or elsewhere or from within Russia through the use of other elements cannot be ruled out. We have to see how it happens. But the possibility of any kind of reconciliation is completely ruled out now. We might see the next wave of war happening, which might be more devastating than what we saw last year. Niranjan.
I also have, a Russian panelist with us. Roman is a journalist, Patikrit, and he continues to stay with us. Roman, there's a claim that's coming in from Russia. Russia says that Zelensky's office hinted at a Ukrainian involvement in the Kremlin drone attack. And they're saying before the apparent attacks, the head of the Ukrainian president's office, Andrei Yermak, posted on Telegram nothing more than a rocket and later an emoji with emergency lights. He then deleted the cryptic messages sometime later. They're saying that perhaps this was planned. You want to respond to that?
Yermak is infamous for posting scripted messages with emojis which people try to decipher, and nobody has been able to so far. They seem pretty random. This is very theoretical. I don't know how to reply to that. It's emojis. Allegations based on emojis is something strange. But
And I'm getting in a response also from Zelensky's official handle. He says he had meetings with the Speaker of the Parliament of Finland and also the Prime Minister of Norway. And he says during the meeting, he thanked their support in difficult times against Russian aggression. And then he also talks about the help that he's getting from Europe, but no mention of this at all. Though his office is giving out statements, do you expect him to respond, Roman, perhaps in some time from now?
I believe he currently is in Finland, and he's going around several European countries asking for aid. Like an hour ago, Finland announced a new aid package to Ukraine. So I don't think he's been informed yet. He probably will respond, but this will take him some time. I'd expect it in maybe an hour or two.
Okay. All right. And I'm getting in some more breaking news that the European Union has just approved another $1 billion in aid for Ukraine from the European Peace Fund. Excuse me. 1 billion more for the Ukraine from the European Peace Fund. So they continue to, of course, pump in money and help Ukraine with not just aid but also weapons. Patikrit, for all the claims of a depleted Russian arsenal, how do you see Putin respond to this?
Well, if the conventional weapons have depleted to a certain extent for Russia, the same is with the NATO countries as well, because their arsenal has been considerably depleted because of the supply to Ukraine. Secondly, if the depletion of conventional weapons gives opportunity for the West to think that they will do something on Russia, they must remember the kind of nuclear weapon arsenal that the Americans have. So the Russians have. So I don't think that NATO would chance that kind of a mistake. But the reality is, I repeat, this was not needed, and to say that this was a false flag operation by the Russians to actually do something, I don't think that's going to happen. The reality is, I still believe that the Russians, if the domestic audience is still not convinced about the fact that Putin has done enough to actually unleash the most sophisticated weapons that Russia has to actually win this war. Frankly speaking, a war, when it goes beyond 6 months, it actually creates a high level of fatigue for the country. And Russians have gone through this for the last 1.5 years. I think they want an end to it. They want to see its conclusion. Now, when that conclusion happens, how, that's something very difficult to say. I don't think majority of the Russians are in favor of any kind of reconciliation. So the other option is to go for, unleashing the kind of weapons and arsenal against which even the West-supported arsenal of Ukraine would be completely ineffective. And that's not a good news for the whole world, and especially for Western Europe. Look at the price of energy today, which has somehow balanced between $75 to $80 a barrel for crude oil. What has happened today, and if the next wave starts, imagine kind of impact it would have on the price of oil, and the impact it would have on many of the countries which are already on the verge of bankruptcy. Western Europe, I feel pity for the Europeans and especially the NATO countries. They are paying a price for the war which perhaps the Americans wanted to happen and the deep state wanted. The Nord Stream 2 pipeline got destroyed. The Germans know who has done it. The Germans are suffering. The price of energy gone up 10 times, and yet the Germans cannot actually say anything. So the reality, if you today, the glue of economic prosperity had held Europe together for a long period of time, it has its own fissures and fault lines that are coming out right now because of protests. They want pay hike. If you see in Germany, what is happening in Northern Ireland, what's happening in many other countries, including France, I mean, if the price goes up even more for energy and the governments find it very difficult to subsidize everything else, can we imagine the kind of impact it would have on Western Europe, and whether they're in a position to ask their people, let's go again to fight against the Russians in Ukraine. So this is a very, very precarious situation. It has been allowed to go on like this. I don't know how it will end, but the end game is nearing in terms of creating a new kind of war, which perhaps the world was not prepared for, and the world doesn't need it. Today, I think the Russians realize that the next level is very, very important for them. And that kind of arsenal, if it is unleashed, I don't know whether NATO will remain quiet or not, because NATO on them then would be in pressure to do something. And this will only be a chain reaction in which the war will continue. Look, technicalities matter very little in this kind of a situation. What happens is this. The emotions are running high. So irrespective of whoever did it, the blame would be on the West. Russia knows this very well, that the real problem is not just Ukraine, but the backers of Ukraine. and the backers of Ukraine. I wonder if Russia would stop at the boundaries of Ukraine or not beyond this, because Putin has been cornered, and Putin would not try to project, doesn't like to be projected as a man who is weak. So he would do something which will be, from his point justified, from the point of Russia perhaps justified, and the reality is this. The world will suffer. It has suffered from 2020 onwards, but unfortunately by 2023 end, I don't know, Niranjan, how the world will look like. Nothing can be ruled out. Niranjan.
Okay, we'll take a short break. Stay with us, Roman and Patikrit. I need to take a short commercial break. We'll take a break and come back. Our coverage continues here on Republic TV. Stay tuned.
Amity faculty have filed over 1800 patents. Yet another reason why Amity has been ranked among the top for innovation achievements.
2016 में जब मैं देशवासियों को कहता था आपकी उंगली पर आपकी बैंक होगी, तो ये लोग मेरा मजाक उड़ाते थे। मोदी जी बताइए, गरीब आलू टमाटर डिजिटली कैसे खरीदेगा? आज आप देखिए, आपकी फिल्म सिटी में भी चाय की दुकान से लेकर लिट्टी चोखे के ठेले तक डिजिटल पेमेंट हो रहा है या नहीं? फाइव जी का रोल आउट हुआ है। हम दुनिया में सबसे तेज गति से आगे बढ़े हैं। 5G को लेकर भारत ने जो तेजी दिखाई है, जिस तरह अपनी खुद की टेक्नोलॉजी विकसित की है, उसकी पूरी दुनिया में चर्चा हो रही है।
Mr. Vaishnav, how soon can we change all the trains in the country? Why do we need bullet trains? Why do we need fast trains at all? That's a transformation. So from tinkering to transformation, tell me what really has changed and what is changing.
Today, railways thought process, railways mindset is only and only about performance, only and only about meeting people's expectations, only and only about transforming the economy. Our Prime Minister really thinks that India will become a superpower, and he believes that if we lay the foundation right, then the country will be in the right direction.
हमने सत्ता के माइंडसेट को भी बदला है। हम सेवा का माइंडसेट लेकर आए हैं। हमने गरीब कल्याण को अपना माध्यम बनाया है। हमने तुष्टीकरण नहीं, संतुष्टीकरण को अपना आधार बनाया है। इस अप्रोच ने देश के गरीब और मध्यम वर्ग के लिए सुरक्षा का कवच का निर्माण कर दिया है। भ्रष्टाचारियों का कितना भी बड़ा गठजोड़ क्यों ना बना ले, सारे भ्रष्टाचारी एक ही मंच पे आ जाए, सारे परिवारवादी एक ही जगह पे आ जाए, लेकिन मोदी अपने रास्ते से लौटने वाला नहीं। भ्रष्टाचार और परिवारवाद के खिलाफ मेरी लड़ाई जारी रहेगी दोस्तों, और मैं देश को इन चीजों से मुक्त कराने के लिए प्रण लेकर के निकला हुआ इंसान हूँ। मुझे आपके आशीर्वाद चाहिए। साथियों, आज देश में जो बदलाव आ रहा है, उसकी दिशा क्या है, इसको मापने का एक तरीका है अर्थव्यवस्था के विकास और विस्तार की गति। भारत को $1 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था बनने में लगभग 60 साल लगे। 2014 तक हम लोग किसी तरह $2 ट्रिलियन के मार्ग तक पहुंच पाए, यानी 7 दशक में $2 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था। लेकिन आज हमारी सरकार के 9 वर्ष बाद भारत आज लगभग $3.5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी वाला देश है। कुछ लोगों को मोदी से इतनी परेशानी क्यों है, और आज इसकी वजह मैं भी रिपब्लिक टीवी के दर्शकों को बताना चाहता हूँ। ये जो नाराजगी दिख रही है ना, ये जो बवाल हो रहा है, वो इसलिए है क्योंकि कुछ लोगों की काली कमाई के रास्ते मोदी ने हमेशा हमेशा के लिए बंद कर दिए। आपने कुछ समय पहले IMF का एक रिपोर्ट आया जो है, एक वर्किंग पेपर, शायद आपने जरूर देखा। ये रिपोर्ट बताती है कि ऐसी योजनाओं के कारण
Getting in some breaking news now, a slight setback for Ukraine and Zelensky. Finland has said that it will not give Ukraine its fighter jets, saying that it needs them itself. Finland ruling out giving any fighter jets to Zelensky's country. And to Zelensky's request, they have said that they will need those fighter jets themselves. Can I get Roman on that? Roman, if you're looking at this a comment that's come in from the Finnish President Niinisto, he has said that Finland will not give Ukraine its fighter jets and that it needs those fighter jets itself. So, as someone who's sitting in Ukraine, how do you think this will go down with the people?
Well, Ukraine has been repeatedly asking for aviation since the start of the war, and as far as I remember, every time the request has been denied. Ukraine is trying to get F-16s from NATO, Ukraine is trying to get aviation from Eastern Europe, but most of the time it's been denied because countries either don't want to risk their own aviation or claims that it will take too long to train pilots on new equipment, so we cannot afford that. They expect war to be over sooner, which kind of contradicts the point that NATO is single-handedly fighting the war in Ukraine when they are not even giving Ukraine the arms that it constantly asks for.
Okay. Interesting developments on the sidelines of the assassination plot that Russia claims this evening. Roman, thank you for joining us. I'm taking another short break right now on Republic TV, taking a break and coming back with the live breaking coverage from Moscow. Stay tuned.
जब हर एक भारतीय की शक्ति लगेगी, हर एक भारतीय का परिश्रम लगेगा, तो विकसित भारत का सपना भी हम जल्द से जल्द पूरा कर पाएंगे। मुझे विश्वास है कि इसी भावना को रिपब्लिक नेटवर्क भी निरंतर सशक्त करता रहेगा। और अब तो अर्नब ने बता भी दिया है, वो ग्लोबली जा रहे हैं। भारत की आवाज को एक नई ताकत मिलेगी। मेरी उनको भी बहुत शुभकामना है। इतना बड़ा काम ऐसे नहीं हुआ है दोस्तों। इसके लिए पहले आधार को संवैधानिक दर्जा दिया गया। 45 करोड़ से अधिक जनधन बैंक खाते मिशन मोड पर खोले गए। अभी तक 28 लाख करोड़ रुपए डीबीटी से करोड़ों लाभार्थियों तक पहुंचाए गए। डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर, कोई बिचौलिया नहीं, कोई कटकी कंपनी नहीं, कोई काली कमाई करने वाले लोग नहीं। और डीबीटी का सीधा सीधा मतलब है, डीबीटी यानी कमीशन बंद, लीकेज बंद। इस एक व्यवस्था से ही दर्जनों योजनाओं, कार्यक्रमों में ट्रांसपेरेंसी आ गई।
You're now a part of the Narendra Modi-led present-day government. How do you see the different styles of functioning? And do you think that the style of governance is what leads us to this track on transformation?
The capability, expertise and the attention to detail, that insistence has been there with Prime Minister Modi. In 9 years, Prime Minister Modi has built 74 additional airports, heliports and waterports. We've doubled it to 148. But our ambition does not stop there. In the next 5 years, we will take that number to upwards of 200 in our country.
What are the thresholds of transformation? What must be continually transformed as an individual, as a society, as a country to stay relevant? We are talking about civilizational reawakening. What does transformation mean?
Look, change is an order of the world. Everything has to change. If anything doesn't change and if it gets stagnant, then you have to see that something is not right there. But change towards the better, we call transformation. So the baseline for transformation is physical, mental, emotional and spiritual comfort.
अब जो मैं बताने जा रहा हूं वो जानकर रिपब्लिक टीवी के दर्शकों को भी जरूर अच्छा लगेगा। आपको याद होगा 2019 में इसी रिपब्लिक समिट में मैंने कहा था कि पीएम आवास योजना के तहत हमने 5 साल में 1.5 करोड़ परिवारों को घर दिया है। अब ये आंकड़ा बढ़कर 3.25 करोड़ से ज्यादा हो चुका है। इनमें से ज्यादातर घर उसका मालिकाना हक हमारी माताओं बहनों के नाम पर है। करोड़ों गरीब बहनें, मैं आज बड़े संतोष से कहता हूं, लखपति दीदी बनी। (2014) से पहले मनरेगा को लेकर कितनी शिकायतें रहती थी। कई जगहों पर तो एक दिन के काम के बदले 30 दिन तक की हाजिरी दिखाई जा रही है, यानी पैसा कोई और हजम कर रहा था। इसमें किसका नुकसान हो रहा था? गरीब का, मजदूर का। हमने मनरेगा का बजट बढ़ाया। अब करीब 90% से अधिक मनरेगा मजदूरों के आधार कार्ड लिंक हो चुके हैं। इससे जॉब कार्ड में फर्जीवाड़ा कम हुआ है। मनरेगा में फर्जीवाड़ा रुकने की वजह से 40,000 करोड़ रुपए
डबल इंजन सरकार कर्नाटक को आगे ले जाएगी। क्या रिवर्स गियर चाहते हो?
ಮೋದಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿಷದ ಹಾವಿದ್ದಂಗೆ. ಇದು ವಿಷ ಅದ ಇಲ್ಲ ನೋಡೋಣ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೆಕ್ ನೋಡೋಣ, ನೆಕ್ಕಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿರಿ, ನೆಕ್ಕರು ಸತ್ತ.
कांग्रेस ने देश के किसानों के साथ भी हमेशा विश्वासघात किया। ये कांग्रेस के लोग कभी मेरी कब्र खोदना चाहते हैं, कभी मुझे सांप बुलाते हैं। सांप तो भगवान शिव की माला है। फैसला कोई भी हो, इस बात की चर्चा नहीं होती कि उनके पास लोगों के लिए क्या एजेंडा है।
आपके दुख सुनने के बजाय अपना दुखड़ा आपको सुनाते हैं। जो आपके सामने आकर रोता है कि मुझे गाली लग रही है।
In a biggest charge against Ukraine, Kremlin has claimed that Ukraine attempted to assassinate Russian President Vladimir Putin by using a drone. Moscow further claims that it prevented Ukraine from assassinating Russian President Vladimir Putin. Kremlin has stated that it has destroyed 2 drones aimed at Putin's residence. The drone types have not been identified yet. According to Russian media, the military and special services used radar warfare systems to intercept the drone. Meanwhile, Mayor of Moscow, Sergei Sobyanin, has announced on Telegram that civilian drones will not be allowed in the capital city any longer. Although no casualties or material damage has been reported, and the Kremlin classified this incident as a planned terrorist attack, and it has taken extra security measures to prevent any similar attempts in the future. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has said that the Russian president was not at the Kremlin during the attack. Peskov was speaking to Russia's RIA Novosti. Meanwhile, Russia's foreign minister said that there would be no effect on Russian president's planned schedule, and also the plans to hold a parade on Red Square on the 9th of May are not changed. A video circulating on social media, however, appears to show smoke in the air, though the source of the smoke is yet to be determined. Meanwhile, Russia has indicated that it reserves the right to take retaliatory measures against any potential suspects if necessary. Another drone crashed by Moscow in the region, as emergency services have reported that a UAV has been found in the forest near Kolomna area. In fact, fragments of a wing, an engine and a small funnel were discovered at the site. All right, viewers, we are tracking the big story that is coming in. Moscow has alleged that Kyiv has attempted assassinating Russian President Vladimir Putin, and many developments are coming in. My colleague Niranjan is live with us on the broadcast. Also, we have Patikrit Sen on the broadcast with us. Niranjan, a big breaking that's coming in. Latest, I beg your pardon, Patikrit Sen is joining us, expert joining us on the broadcast. Over to you, Niranjan, to the Mumbai studios.
Thank you. That's Patikrit Payne. Just a small correction there, but there's a statement now coming in. Statement from Volodin, the chairman of the State Duma of the Russian Federation. So a short statement from one of the Russian leaders saying that the terrorist attack on the president is an attack on Russia. So they're calling it an attack on Russia. This is a big breaking news update. They are, of course, escalating this attack, saying that the Russian nation has now been attacked. The Kyiv Nazi regime must be recognized as a terrorist organization. Zelensky, by giving orders to commit terrorist attacks, has joined the ranks of other international terrorists. The Kyiv regime is today no less dangerous than Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Its criminal methods are obvious to the whole world community: nuclear blackmail, assassination of political public figures, sabotage, bombing of civilian objects, and now an attempt on the president of our country. This is a Russian statement, by the way, that's just coming in. Kyiv terrorist regime, having seized an entire state, threatens the security of Russia, Europe, and the whole world. There can be no negotiations, I beg your pardon, with the Zelensky regime, and that they will demand the use of weapons that are capable of stopping and destroying the Kyiv terrorist regime. So what we'll do at this point is that we'll take a short break, and we'll come back with more breaking news updates. Patikrit, continue to stay with us. We're getting in more updates. We'll just come back with more updates after this short break.
Amity faculty have filed over 1800 patents. Yet another reason why Amity has been ranked among the top for innovation achievements.
2016 में जब मैं देशवासियों से कहता था आपकी उंगली पर आपकी बैंक होगी, तो ये लोग मेरा मजाक उड़ाते थे। मोदी जी बताइए, गरीब आलू टमाटर डिजिटली कैसे खरीदेगा? आज आप देखिए, आपकी फिल्म सिटी में भी चाय की दुकान से लेकर लिट्टी चोखे के ठेले तक डिजिटल पेमेंट हो रहा है या नहीं? फाइव जी का रोल आउट हुआ है। हम दुनिया में सबसे तेज गति से आगे बढ़े हैं। 5G को लेकर भारत ने जो तेजी दिखाई है, जिस तरह अपनी खुद की टेक्नोलॉजी विकसित की है, उसकी पूरी दुनिया में चर्चा हो रही है।
Mr. Vaishnav, how soon can we change all the trains in the country? Why do we need bullet trains? Why do we need fast trains at all? That's a transformation. So from tinkering to transformation, tell me what really has changed and what is changing.
Today, Railway's thought process, Railway's mindset is only and only about performance, only and only about meeting people's expectations, only and only about transforming the economy. Our Prime Minister really thinks that India will become a superpower, and he believes that if we lay the foundation right, then the country will be in the right direction.
हमने सत्ता के माइंडसेट को भी बदला है। हम सेवा का माइंडसेट लेकर आए हैं। हमने गरीब कल्याण को अपना माध्यम बनाया है। हमने तुष्टीकरण नहीं, संतुष्टीकरण को अपना आधार बनाया है। इस अप्रोच ने देश के गरीब और मध्यम वर्ग के लिए सुरक्षा का कवच का निर्माण कर दिया है। भ्रष्टाचारियों का कितना भी बड़ा गठजोड़ क्यों बना ले, सारे भ्रष्टाचारी एक ही मंच पे आ जाए, सारे परिवारवादी एक ही जगह पे आ जाए, लेकिन मोदी अपने रास्ते से लौटने वाला नहीं। भ्रष्टाचार और परिवारवाद के खिलाफ मेरी लड़ाई जारी रहेगी दोस्तों, और मैं देश को इन चीजों से मुक्त कराने के लिए प्रण लेकर के निकला हुआ इंसान हूँ। मुझे आपके आशीर्वाद चाहिए। साथियों, आज देश में जो बदलाव आ रहा है उसकी दिशा क्या है, इसको मापने का एक तरीका है अर्थव्यवस्था के विकास और विस्तार की गति। भारत को $1 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था बनने में लगभग 60 साल लगे। 2014 तक हम लोग किसी तरह $2 ट्रिलियन के मार्ग तक पहुंच पाए, यानी 7 दशक में $2 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था। लेकिन आज हमारी सरकार के 9 वर्ष बाद भारत आज लगभग $3.5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी वाला देश है। कुछ लोगों को मोदी से इतनी परेशानी क्यों है, और आज इसकी वजह मैं भी रिपब्लिक टीवी के दर्शकों को बताना चाहता हूँ। ये जो नाराजगी दिख रही है ना, ये जो बवाल हो रहा है, वो इसलिए है क्योंकि कुछ लोगों की काली कमाई के रास्ते मोदी ने हमेशा हमेशा के लिए बंद कर दिए। कुछ समय पहले IMF का एक रिपोर्ट आया जो है, एक वर्किंग पेपर, शायद आपने जरूर देखा। ये रिपोर्ट बताती है कि ऐसी योजनाओं के कारण महामारी के बावजूद भारत में एक्सट्रीम पॉवर्टी खत्म होने की कगार पर है, और यही तो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है।
Now of Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov, it appears that his visit to India remains on track. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov will visit India for the SCO meeting. There's no change in his plan after the attack on the Kremlin. It's a quick news break on Republic. We'll take a short break and back with the breaking news coverage. Stay tuned.
जब हर एक भारतीय की शक्ति लगेगी, हर एक भारतीय का परिश्रम लगेगा, विकसित भारत का सपना भी हम जल्द से जल्द पूरा कर पाएंगे। मुझे विश्वास है कि इसी भावना को रिपब्लिक नेटवर्क भी निरंतर सशक्त करता रहेगा। और अब तो अर्नब ने बता भी दिया है, वो ग्लोबली जा रहे हैं, भारत की आवाज को एक नई ताकत मिलेगी। मेरी उनको भी बहुत शुभकामना है। इतना बड़ा काम ऐसे ही नहीं हुआ है तो इसके लिए पहले आधार को संवैधानिक दर्जा दिया गया। 45 करोड़ से अधिक जनधन बैंक खाते मिशन मोड पर खोले गए। अभी तक 28 लाख करोड़ रुपए डीबीटी से करोड़ों लाभार्थियों तक पहुंचाए गए। डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर, कोई बिचौलिया नहीं, कोई कटकी कंपनी नहीं, कोई काली कमाई करने वाले लोग नहीं। और डीबीटी का सीधा सीधा मतलब है, डीबीटी यानी कमीशन बंद, लीकेज बंद। इस एक व्यवस्था से ही दर्जनों योजनाओं कार्यक्रमों में ट्रांसपेरेंसी आ गई।
You're now a part of the Narendra Modi-led present-day government. How do you see the different styles of functioning? And do you think that the style of governance is what leads us to this track on transformation?
The capability, expertise, and the attention to detail, that insistence has been there with Prime Minister Modi. In 9 years, Prime Minister Modi has built 74 additional airports, heliports, and waterports. We've doubled it to 148. But our ambition does not stop there. In the next 5 years, we will take that number to upwards of 200 in our country.
What are the thresholds of transformation? What must be continually transformed as an individual, as a society, as a country to stay relevant? We are talking about civilizational reawakening. What does transformation mean?
Look, change is an order of the world. Everything has to change. If anything doesn't change and if it gets stagnant, then you have to see that something is not right there. But change towards the better, we call transformation. So the baseline for transformation is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual comfort.
अब जो मैं बताने जा रहा हूं वो जानकर रिपब्लिक टीवी के दर्शकों को भी जरूर अच्छा लगेगा। आपको याद होगा 2019 में इसी रिपब्लिक समिट में मैंने कहा था कि पीएम आवास योजना के तहत हमने 5 साल में 1.5 करोड़ परिवारों को घर दिया है। अब ये आंकड़ा बढ़कर 3.25 करोड़ से ज्यादा हो चुका है। इनमें से ज्यादातर घर उसका मालिकाना हक हमारी माताओं बहनों के नाम पर है। करोड़ों गरीब बहनें, मैं आज बड़े संतोष से कहता हूं, लखपति दीदी बनी। (2014) से पहले मनरेगा को लेकर कितनी शिकायतें रहती थी। कई जगहों पर तो एक दिन के काम के बदले 30 दिन तक की हाजिरी दिखाई जा रही है, यानी पैसा कोई और हजम कर रहा था। इसमें किसका नुकसान हो रहा था? गरीब का, मजदूर का। हमने मनरेगा का बजट बढ़ाया। अब करीब 90% से अधिक मनरेगा मजदूरों के आधार कार्ड लिंक हो चुके हैं। इससे जॉब कार्ड में फर्जीवाड़ा कम हुआ है। मनरेगा में फर्जीवाड़ा रुकने की वजह से 40,000 करोड़ रुपए गलत हाथों में जाने से बचे हैं। जो पुरानी सोच और अप्रोच वाले लोग थे वो कह रहे थे कि मेड इन इंडिया वैक्सीन की जरूरत क्या है, दूसरे देश बना ही रहे हैं।
Right, watching Republic TV live and breaking right now, and let us tell you the big story we're tracking today. Russia has alleged that Kyiv attempted assassination bid on Vladimir Putin. In fact, they have avowed that they warned off for retaliatory measures. Remember that this is the video that Russian news agencies have shared, and this is the video of the drone interception. You can see the smoke billowing there, and that is first on Republic TV. Remember, a drone down by the air defense system. Big escalation in the Russia-Ukraine war that is underway more than a year now. And right now we are getting details of it. What we know so far is that there are no victims or material damage that has taken place. President Vladimir Putin's working schedule has not changed despite the claims of an assassination attempt on him. Putin's schedule will continue as usual. The Kremlin has also said that the Russian side reserves the right to take retaliatory measures as it sees fit, and it regards this as a terrorist attack. Also, let us tell you, viewers, that the Russian embassy has informed that the foreign minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, he is coming to India. His visit to India for the SCO summit remains on schedule. That is the breaking news that we are getting in right now. As this story continues to develop, and we at Republic TV will be giving you all the details on the other side of the break.
Amity faculty have filed over 1800 patents. Yet another reason why Amity has been ranked among the top for innovation achievements.
2016 में जब मैं देशवासियों को कहता था आपकी उंगली पर आपकी बैंक होगी, तो ये लोग मेरा मजाक उड़ाते थे। मोदी जी बताइए, गरीब आलू टमाटर डिजिटली कैसे खरीदेगा? आज आप देखिए, आपकी फिल्म सिटी में भी चाय की दुकान से लेकर लिट्टी चोखे के ठेले तक डिजिटल पेमेंट हो रहा है या नहीं? फाइव जी का रोल आउट हुआ है। हम दुनिया में सबसे तेज गति से आगे बढ़े हैं। 5G को लेकर भारत ने जो तेजी दिखाई है, जिस तरह अपनी खुद की टेक्नोलॉजी विकसित की है, उसकी पूरी दुनिया में चर्चा हो रही है।
Mr. Vaishnav, how soon can we change all the trains in the country? Why do we need bullet trains? Why do we need fast trains at all? That's a transformation. So from tinkering to transformation, tell me what really has changed and what is changing.
Today, railways thought process, railways mindset is only and only about performance, only and only about meeting people's expectations, only and only about transforming the economy. Our Prime Minister really thinks that India will become a superpower, and he believes that if we lay the foundation right, then the country will be in the right direction.
हमने सत्ता के माइंडसेट को भी बदला है। हम सेवा का माइंडसेट लेकर आए हैं। हमने गरीब कल्याण को अपना माध्यम बनाया है। हमने तुष्टीकरण नहीं, संतुष्टीकरण को अपना आधार बनाया है। इस अप्रोच ने देश के गरीब और मध्यम वर्ग के लिए सुरक्षा का कवच का निर्माण कर दिया है। भ्रष्टाचारियों का कितना भी बड़ा गठजोड़ क्यों ना बना ले, सारे भ्रष्टाचारी एक ही मंच पे आ जाए, सारे परिवारवादी एक ही जगह पे आ जाए, लेकिन मोदी अपने रास्ते से लौटने वाला नहीं। भ्रष्टाचार और परिवारवाद के खिलाफ मेरी लड़ाई जारी रहेगी दोस्तों, और मैं देश को इन चीजों से मुक्त कराने के लिए प्रण लेकर के निकला हुआ इंसान हूँ। मुझे आपके आशीर्वाद चाहिए। साथियों, आज देश में जो बदलाव आ रहा है, उसकी दिशा क्या है, इसको मापने का एक तरीका है अर्थव्यवस्था के विकास और विस्तार की गति। भारत को $1 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था बनने में लगभग 60 साल लगे। 2014 तक हम लोग किसी तरह $2 ट्रिलियन के मार्ग तक पहुंच पाए, यानी 7 दशक में $2 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था। लेकिन आज हमारी सरकार के 9 वर्ष बाद भारत आज लगभग $3.5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी वाला देश है। कुछ लोगों को मोदी से इतनी परेशानी क्यों है, और आज इसकी वजह मैं भी रिपब्लिक टीवी के दर्शकों को बताना चाहता हूँ। ये जो नाराजगी दिख रही है ना, ये जो बवाल हो रहा है, वो इसलिए है क्योंकि कुछ लोगों की काली कमाई के रास्ते मोदी ने हमेशा हमेशा के लिए बंद कर दिए। अभी कुछ समय पहले IMF का एक रिपोर्ट आया जो है, एक वर्किंग पेपर, शायद आपने जरूर देखा। ये रिपोर्ट बताती है कि ऐसी योजनाओं के कारण महामारी के बावजूद भारत में एक्सट्रीम पॉवर्टी खत्म होने की कगार पर है और यही तो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है। देश की कई
In a biggest charge against Ukraine, Kremlin has claimed that Ukraine attempted to assassinate Russian President Vladimir Putin by using a drone. Moscow has further claimed that it prevented Ukraine from assassinating Russian President Putin. Kremlin has stated that it has destroyed 2 drones aimed at Putin's residence. The drone types have not been identified yet. Russian media says the military and special services used radar warfare systems to intercept the drone. Meanwhile, Mayor of Moscow, Sergei Sobyanin, has announced on Telegram that civilian drones will not be allowed in the capital city any longer. No casualties or material damage has been reported, and the Kremlin classified this incident as a planned terrorist attack and has taken extra security measures to prevent any similar attempts in the future.
तब काम का माहौल ना देखकर देश छोड़ने तक का फैसला कर लिया। ये सब उन्हीं सरकारी नीतियों का थर्ड ऑर्डर इम्पैक्ट था। उन नीतियों के इम्पैक्ट ने देश के इनोवेशन, हार्डवर्क और एंटरप्राइज की क्षमता को कुचल दिया। जब हर एक भारतीय की शक्ति लगेगी, हर एक भारतीय का परिश्रम लगेगा, विकसित भारत का सपना भी हम जल्द से जल्द पूरा कर पाएंगे। मुझे विश्वास है कि इसी भावना को रिपब्लिक नेटवर्क भी निरंतर सशक्त करता रहेगा। और अब तो अर्नब ने बता भी दिया है, वो ग्लोबली जा रहे हैं। भारत की आवाज को एक नई ताकत मिलेगी। मेरी उनको भी बहुत शुभकामना है। इतना बड़ा काम ऐसे ही नहीं हुआ है तो इसके लिए पहले आधार को संवैधानिक दर्जा दिया गया। 45 करोड़ से अधिक जनधन बैंक खाते मिशन मोड पर खोले गए। अभी तक 28 लाख करोड़ रुपए डीबीटी से करोड़ों लाभार्थियों तक पहुंचाए गए। डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर, कोई बिचौलिया नहीं, कोई कटकी कंपनी नहीं, कोई काली कमाई करने वाले लोग नहीं। और डीबीटी का सीधा सीधा मतलब है डीबीटी यानी कमीशन बंद, लीकेज बंद। इस एक व्यवस्था से ही दर्जनों योजनाओं, कार्यक्रमों में ट्रांसपेरेंसी आ गई।
You're now a part of the Narendra Modi-led present-day government. How do you see the different styles of functioning? And do you think that the style of governance is what leads us to this track on transformation?
The capability, expertise and the attention to detail, that insistence has been there with Prime Minister Modi. In 9 years, Prime Minister Modi has built 74 additional airports, heliports and waterports. We've doubled it to 148. But our ambition does not stop there. In the next 5 years, we will take that number to upwards of 200 in our country.
What are the thresholds of transformation? What must be continually transformed as an individual, as a society, as a country to stay relevant? We are talking about civilizational reawakening. What does transformation mean?
Look, change is an order of the world. Everything has to change. If anything doesn't change and if it gets stagnant, then you have to see that something is not right there. But change towards the better, we call transformation. So the baseline for transformation is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual comfort.
अब जो मैं बताने जा रहा हूं वो जानकर रिपब्लिक टीवी के दर्शकों को भी जरूर अच्छा लगेगा। आपको याद होगा 2019 में इसी रिपब्लिक समिट में मैंने कहा था कि पीएम आवास योजना के तहत हमने 5 साल में 1.5 करोड़ परिवारों को घर दिया है। अब ये आंकड़ा बढ़कर 3.25 करोड़ से ज्यादा हो चुका है। इनमें से ज्यादातर घर उसका मालिकाना हक हमारी माताओं बहनों के नाम पर है। करोड़ों गरीब बहनें, मैं आज बड़े संतोष से कहता हूं, लखपति दीदी बनी। 2014 से पहले मनरेगा को लेकर कितनी शिकायतें रहती थी। कई जगहों पर तो एक दिन के काम के बदले 30 दिन तक की हाजिरी दिखाई जा रही है, यानी पैसा कोई और हजम कर रहा था। इसमें किसका नुकसान हो रहा था? गरीब का, मजदूर का। हमने मनरेगा का बजट बढ़ाया। अब करीब 90% से अधिक मनरेगा मजदूरों के आधार कार्ड लिंक हो चुके हैं। इससे जॉब कार्ड में फर्जीवाड़ा कम हुआ है। मनरेगा में फर्जीवाड़ा रुकने की वजह से 40,000 करोड़ रुपए गलत हाथ।
Burning Question, powered by Hyundai Verna and Timex, co-powered by Activa 6G.
Massive escalation in the Russian-Ukraine war. Kremlin accuses Kyiv of assassination bid on President Putin. Russia claims 3 drones intercepted near Moscow. Ukraine counters, refutes Russia allegations. Russian foreign minister's India visit on track. Lavrov in India for the SCO meeting. And big political face-off as Congress promises to ban Bajrang Dal in Karnataka manifesto.
एकजुट होकर एंटी नेशनल लोगों का विरोध करते हैं। रिवर्स गियर कांग्रेस एंटी नेशनल लोगों से चुनावी मदद लेती है।
Prime Minister slams Congress for the links with the SDPI, says big focus on terror appeasement. And 37 kilometers, 10 hours, and over 10 lakh people in audience. Countdown to Prime Minister's mega roadshow in Bangalore has begun now. Well, hello and welcome. I am Ishwara Kapoor and you are watching The Burning Question. And viewers, in Karnataka today, the Prime Minister started his rally by saying, Jai Bajrang Bali. Yes, that's what the Prime Minister said. Jai Bajrang Bali. And he said to all those political opponents who are targeting Bajrang Bali, he says, those are the ones who kept Lord Rama, Prabhu Shri Ram, under locks and now are targeting Ram Bhakt Hanuman. The Prime Minister started his rally by saying, Jai Bajrang Bali, and I repeat, because it's important, viewers. It's a message which the Prime Minister himself is sending out. It's a political issue now, with the complete Congress rallying and trying to say, no, we are not anti-Lord Hanuman. We are not against Hanuman. We are not against Bajrang Bali. They say that the actions of Bajrang Dal are such that they have called for a ban on Bajrang Dal, but they are not against Bajrang Bali. And I repeat, with the Prime Minister himself starting his rally by saying, raise your both hands and say Jai Bajrang Bali, he's brought the Congress to answer the important question. That why always you question or put a question mark on the Hindu deities and the lords. And the Congress comes out and says, no, it's not us. And now none of the senior Congress leaders in the state of Karnataka are ready to give a clear answer or a clear counter to the BJP. That's the topic on this show. But first, the special report.
Congress manifesto has triggered statewide protest in poll-bound Karnataka. Angry Bajrang Dal workers in Bengaluru burnt the Congress manifesto after Grand Old Party's promise to ban the organization. Several workers from various constituencies took to the streets and raised slogans against Congress. Bajrang Dal workers were also seen staging protest in Hyderabad. While Congress is adamant on its stance to ban the outfit,
whoever tried to create disturbance in the public on peace, disharmony, communal harmony, action will be taken, as examples have been quoted.
the BJP has slammed the Congress for the same.
कांग्रेस की मति मारी गई है वोट बैंक की राजनीति में, और इसीलिए जो कल कांग्रेस पार्टी ने किया है दरअसल उनका मैनिफेस्टो नहीं, ये ऐसे लगता है मानो पीएफआई का या मुस्लिम लीग का एक मैनिफेस्टो कार्ड इन्होंने जारी किया है.
Congress is desperate. They know they are losing in Karnataka. Therefore, they are trying to polarize the elections by making it a Hindu versus Muslim election.
Even the Prime Minister, who is on a campaign trail in Karnataka, began his speech with a chant launching a direct attack over Congress manifesto.
कांग्रेस पार्टी ने अपने मैनिफेस्टो में बजरंग बली को थाने में बंद करने का निर्णय किया है.
Bajrang Dal is planning to stage protest by organizing Hanuman Chalisa recital on Thursday.
बजरंग दल ने जब भी किया राष्ट्र के लिए काम किया, बजरंग दल ने जब भी कोई काम किया लोगों के लिए काम किया. कोविड में बजरंग दल एक ऐसा संगठन था जिन्होंने हजारों लोगों को भोजन करवाया. भोजन कराते समय हमने ये नहीं पूछा कि तुम हिंदू हो या मुसलमान हो.
देखिए, कांग्रेस का चाल चरित्र चेहरा है. जब इनको कहीं हार नजर आती है ना तो हिंदू संगठनों पर ठीकरा फोड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं. जब इनको समाज और जनता तवज्जो नहीं देती तो ये वो नेगेटिव पब्लिसिटी की तरफ उतर आते हैं.
The Congress promise to ban Bajrang Dal has triggered a fresh political row in the poll-bound state. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
From banning Bajrang Dal to Jai Bajrang Bali, Dr. Tejaswini Gowda, MLC and ex-MP of Karnataka BJP, national spokesperson, joining in from Malleshwaram, Bangalore. Dr. Suman C. Raman from Chennai and T.R. Prasad Gowda, JDS leader, joining in live from Bangalore. Dr. Tejaswini Gowda, the Prime Minister himself, when starts his rallies by saying Bajrang Bali ki jai ho, it's a clear message. Ma'am.
Yes.
Bajrang Bali is Karnataka is pride of having Kishkinda in our land. Bajrang Bali, the Hanumanji, Lord Hanuman, dedicated his life to the seva of Ram. This Congress party, throughout the centuries, they try to erase the Sri Ram's existence. Every given opportunity, they try to insult our gods and goddesses. And always they try to appease this Muslim minority, the so-called Muslim minority. Though this very nation divided on the basis of two-nation theory, some people, though we lived for centuries, but some people would not digest this harmony, and they have taken away the piece of land called Pakistan and Bangladesh for their own. Whereas India, even today, is very peaceful country, which is given opportunity for the Buddhists, Jainists, and Sikhism, and everybody we are very happy. And none other than the India has seen the greatest scientist, the son of the soil, Dr. Abdul Kalam as the Rashtrapati. That means Muslims in this country is very happy. They have been given every opportunity. That's what my Prime Minister, our Prime Minister Modi ji is saying, Sabka Sath, Sabka Vikas. A true nationalist Muslims, the true Indian Muslims were very happy. They are given opportunity to grow in every discourse of this life.
No, Dr. Gowda, I understand that. But Sumansi Raman,
yes. Why?
Don't you... Okay, please carry on. Complete your point.
Yeah. This Lord Hanumanji, our government has given 100 crore rupee to develop this Kishkinda. Next to my state is Lepakshi. It is the Andhra state. Lepakshi means, in Telugu, get up. For Jatayu, when Jatayu tried to save the Mata Sita, whereas Hanumanji has really done a wonderful job. They don't believe in the insult Ramasetu. They always try to erase the richest civilization, richest culture, richest history.
I get your point, but
our
but
India.
Sumansi
That's
Raman,
why people of
you may raise your eyebrows. No, Dr. Raman. No, Dr. Sumansi Raman, you may be raising your eyebrows, but you need to understand that the Congress party is not even clear on this. The Congress party, even if they have to oppose it, they are not unequivocally opposing it. They are divided even on this. You have Congress leaders coming out and saying in the national capital that no, this is not our stand. That may be the state leadership, So the Congress party, once again, because of lack of clarity at top, lack of leadership, if I may call it so, they are unaware of what stand to take. Sumansi Raman.
The Karnataka elections are increasingly becoming a test of the intelligence of the voter in Karnataka. Whether they can be deceived by, Hindu-Muslim and such issues. Bajrang Dal, what does Bajrang Dal have to do with Bajrang Bali? I mean, look, these are things which test the basic intelligence of the voters. But to be fair to the BJP, at least there is no pretense now. They've decided that these 4 years of rule cannot be highlighted. We have to go with polarization. We have to go with the Hindu-Muslim card, and that's the last throw of the dice. So I think that there is no surprise at all. At least they are being open about it instead of saying, we gave a great government, we gave good governance and all that. So eventually it is down to this. This is what the Karnataka election has come down to. If the Congress had even if the Congress had not put this in the manifesto, even earlier they began with the hijab issue and they began with all these related, communal or polarization issues. So I think that even the pretense of good governance is not being focused on, and that's a pity for the voters of Karnataka. They deserve a better deal. They deserve at least talk
why
about
do you say so? Why do you say so? Because when the Prime Minister why do you say so when the Prime Minister, the State Chief Minister, and you have half a dozen other leaders coming out and listing what all work has been done by the Bomai government and then the government prior to that? But I'll come to you, Dr. Gowda, but I'm going to T.R. Prasad Gowda of the JDS first. Yes, Mr. T.R. Prasad Gowda. Ma'am, I'll come to you.
National
T.R. Prasad Gowda.
Both the national parties, BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party and Congress are trying to
I forgot, you are making the government here.
They wanted to seek the votes of the Karnataka state people by provoking the minds of people, communal, they are invoking this kind of thing. They cannot ask the vote because BJP, they have not done any work in the state of Karnataka all 3.5 years of their rule.
What have you done, sir? Please enlighten me. What has the JDS done that you are going to be defeating the BJP and the Congress combined? Please enlighten me in the next 90 seconds.
We are the regional party is the only solution for the state of Karnataka. During the rule of the HD Kumaraswamy as chief minister, he has proved to his best that he can do.
How long did that government run, sir? Please refresh my mind.
Yeah.
How long did that government run, by the way? Please refresh my mind.
14 months.
How much stability were you able to provide to the people of Karnataka, sir?
That is the reason. Only 14 months he did.
No. That is the reason why. That is the reason why the people of Karnataka, I am saying let the people decide. I am not saying, Mr. Gowda, I am saying, I ask you on any issue, you only come that, listen, we are the only alternative, not the BJP. Let's discuss on the topics also, no, sometime, Mr. Gowda.
2023, Kumaraswamy will going to form the government. The people know. And only Kumaraswamy can deliver good government.
All the best to you for that. Karnataka. All the best to you for that, but that is not my point or my topic of discussion. Dr. Tejaswini Gowda, Sumansi Raman is saying that this is your plan. All of this is happening because of the master plan of the BJP, and BJP is not portraying the hard work or whatever work has been done by the BJP government, by the Bomai government. And that is why you are coming to Jai Bajrangbali. Is that true, madam?
Congress and both JDS has been very much disappointed. They thought, communal issue will rake up and all. I will tell you, we have the rule of law here. My state would like to contribute $1 trillion economy to make to realize the dream what Modi ji is saying, to make India as the $5 trillion economy. In spite of COVID, in spite of severe floods, lot of infrastructure. Just I'll quote 2 instances. Mysore and Bangalore road we spent 8,150 crore rupee, which reduced 3 hours journey to 1.5 hour journey. Another instance, Hyderabad to Bangalore road, we spent 30,000 crore, which reduced 12 hours travel to 7 hours travel. How much? 7 airports. In spite of COVID, I'm saying FDI, my state is the #1 investment state. Unicorns out of 100, 19 unicorns we are having, 4,000 startups we are having. I'm having my chief minister has given Vidyanidhi, which is
I need to ask you first, Suman.
To 11,000.
Sometimes facial expressions also speak a lot. Why are you not taking Dr. Tejaswini Gowda's claim seriously?
You're asking report card. You're asking.
No, I'll give you 45 more seconds, ma'am. Hold on.
Based on development. Modi ji has given 59 lakh.
Development. All right, Ms. Gowda. Yeah. Suman, first you raise your eyebrows, then you smile, then you laugh. Ms. Gowda is saying that we are ready to discuss on development.
No. Let the BJP spokesperson tell us the exact year that the Bangalore-Mysore expressway was conceptualized. Let her tell us when did work start. Let her tell us about the
projects.
Highway. All of these are projects of successive government.
1,500
all credit is absurd. The people also
this is the problem. No, this is no. Viewers, please hold down. Suman, Dr. Gowda, T.R. Prasad Gowda. You see, this is the issue which I see as a reporter. I am telling you, whether it is Haryana, whether it is Uttar Pradesh, whether it is Assam, whether it is Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, everywhere, every project, it takes time. Yes, Sumansi Raman, it takes time. I am sure that this project must have been conceptualized 15 years, 20 years prior. The file must have moved. The file must have been signed by a Congress government, then a BJP government, then a Congress government. And then when the milestone was put, it might have been a BJP government. But let me tell you, as a reporter who goes to the ground, let me tell you this. The people of this country from Uttar Pradesh to Karnataka are only concerned about roads, not about who or which leader signed the document. They are not concerned which chief minister signed, which chief minister moved the file, Which chief minister came for the ribbon cutting? No. What they want is development. They are not concerned about who's moving the file. Please enlighten yourself. The people of this country are smart enough to know that it takes time. But I am saying, is Karnataka, Suman, it's a tough fight. Suman, it's a tough fight between the BJP and the Congress. Let's accept that.
No. I don't believe that it is a tough fight. I think that with the attempt at polarization, at the attempt to sort of take the debate away from development in Karnataka, I think the BJP is conceding ground. And I don't think that it's going to help them in run up to the last one
What are
week.
you saying?
Mr. Kapoor,
Come in, Dr. Gowda.
Mr. Kapoor, this
Yes,
Mysore
T.R. Prasad
Bangalore
Gowda. Yes, please, T.R. Prasad Gowda.
Mysore Bangalore
Sir, boliye.
highway.
Carry on, sir.
But it is the effort of Nitin Gadkari. And why our BJP spokesperson take it as the credit of Karnataka government? What they can do with this project? Of course, they have done the project. This is credit goes to the central government under able leadership of Nitin Gadkari. Okay, we will accept it. But the series of failures.
So a JDS leader is saying, so the people of this country are watching Dr. Tejaswini Gowda, that a JDS leader is saying that the central government has pushed it. A JDS leader is saying that a BJP central government has pushed it. I'm coming back to the point that the Prime Minister, by raising the Jai Bajrangbali slogan, has made it clear that the last leg prior to Karnataka going to polls, it's an election issue now. Dr. Tejaswini Gowda, your final answer. 45 seconds each to all of you. Yes, Ms. Gowda.
Please repeat your question now, Kapoor. Hello?
No, I am saying, ma'am, with the Prime Minister raising the Jai Bajrangbali slogan has made sure that this is going to be an election issue.
They cannot equate Bajrang Dal to the PFI. PFI is a radical organization which challenged the integrity of this country, which was posed a threat to the national security. Whereas Bajrang Dal activists were doing, they were trying to save the cow slaughters. They were trying to save the cows from the slaughters, and also they were trying to save our innocent girls from the love jihad. They were trying to save the innocent people from the forcible conversion. They were not a terrorist organization.
Suman Raman, your ending comments. Ma'am, it's a short format debate. Thank you. Yeah. Suman Raman.
Don't take my word for it. Anybody watching the show, please go Google Bajrang Dal Karnataka plus violence. Just go and Google and see the number of incidents over the last 10 years. Don't believe what I am saying. You do it yourself. Go and Google it. Bajrang Dal Karnataka plus violence and Google it.
After the legal process, PFI banned, but not
Dr. Gowda, 1 minute. Let me ask you. Since when did PFI start to indulge in anti-national activities? No, I'm not misleading. I'm telling people to Google. I didn't put those articles there. No,
I didn't put those articles. Witnessed 800 days of image breakers.
No, one second.
These Muslims don't believe in image worship. Hinduism is the image. We are image worshippers. You cannot hurt.
Why did it take you 8 years to ban the PFI? Why did it take you?
Right to religion.
Okay, last 30 seconds, T.R. Prasad Gowda. Last 30 seconds, please, both of you. Suman and Dr. Gowda, please hold on. T.R. Prasad Gowda, JDS, 30 seconds. Please, Suman, please. Okay. Suman, you made your point now. Thank you. Yeah. T.R. Prasad Gowda, on this issue, and not that JDS is forming the government. Yes. Please.
Sir,
30 seconds.
2023 will be the year of regional party. That is, JDS will going to form the government. People of Karnataka are very much with regional party, the north and south. We are going to sweep the elections.
Very good, sir.
And you
ask anything to the JDS, and their answer is they are making the government. So on that point where I have the BJP, Suman and JDS all smiling, thank you very much to all of you. Thank you very much, all of you. But Mr. Gowda, sometime answer on the issue also. And not only that JDS is going to form the government. Thank you very much. On the other side, I have my colleague joining in on another very interesting topic. And at 9, it's the man himself, Arnab Goswami, on the debate. Thank you very much.
Amity faculty have filed over 1800 patents. Yet another reason why Amity has been ranked among the top for innovation achievements.
2016 में जब मैं देशवासियों से कहता था आपकी उंगली पर आपकी बैंक होगी, तो ये लोग मेरा मजाक उड़ाते थे। मोदी जी बताइए, गरीब आलू टमाटर डिजिटली कैसे खरीदेगा? आज आप देखिए, आपकी फिल्म सिटी में भी चाय की दुकान से लेकर लिट्टी चोखे के ठेले तक डिजिटल पेमेंट हो रहा है या नहीं? फाइव जी का रोल आउट हुआ है। हम दुनिया में सबसे तेज गति से आगे बढ़े हैं। 5G को लेकर भारत ने जो तेजी दिखाई है, जिस तरह अपनी खुद की टेक्नोलॉजी विकसित की है, उसकी पूरी दुनिया में चर्चा हो रही है।
Mr. Vaishnav, how soon can we change all the trains in the country? Why do we need bullet trains? Why do we need fast trains at all? That's a transformation. So from tinkering to transformation, tell me what really has changed and what is changing.
Today, railways thought process, railways mindset is only and only about performance, only and only about meeting people's expectations, only and only about transforming the economy. Our Prime Minister really thinks that India will become a superpower, and he believes that if we lay the foundation right, then the country will be in the right direction.
हमने सत्ता के माइंडसेट को भी बदला है। हम सेवा का माइंडसेट लेकर आए हैं। हमने गरीब कल्याण को अपना माध्यम बनाया है। हमने तुष्टीकरण नहीं, संतुष्टीकरण को अपना आधार बनाया है। इस अप्रोच ने देश के गरीब और मध्यम वर्ग के लिए सुरक्षा का कवच का निर्माण कर दिया है। भ्रष्टाचारियों का कितना भी बड़ा गठजोड़ क्यों बना ले, सारे भ्रष्टाचारी एक ही मंच पे आ जाए, सारे परिवारवादी एक ही जगह पे आ जाए, लेकिन मोदी अपने रास्ते से लौटने वाला नहीं। भ्रष्टाचार और परिवारवाद के खिलाफ मेरी लड़ाई जारी रहेगी दोस्तों, और मैं देश को इन चीजों से मुक्त कराने के लिए प्रण लेकर के निकला हुआ इंसान हूँ। मुझे आपके आशीर्वाद चाहिए। साथियों, आज देश में जो बदलाव आ रहा है, उसकी दिशा क्या है, इसको मापने का एक तरीका है अर्थव्यवस्था के विकास और विस्तार की गति। भारत को $1 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था बनने में लगभग 60 साल लगे। 2014 तक हम लोग किसी तरह $2 ट्रिलियन के मार्ग तक पहुंच पाए, यानी 7 दशक में $2 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था। लेकिन आज हमारी सरकार के 9 वर्ष बाद भारत आज लगभग $3.5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी वाला देश है। कुछ लोगों को मोदी से इतनी परेशानी क्यों है, और आज इसकी वजह मैं भी रिपब्लिक टीवी के दर्शकों को बताना चाहता हूँ। ये जो नाराजगी दिख रही है ना, ये जो बवाल हो रहा है, वो इसलिए है क्योंकि कुछ लोगों की काली कमाई के रास्ते मोदी ने हमेशा हमेशा के लिए बंद कर दिए। कुछ समय पहले IMF का एक रिपोर्ट आया, जो है एक वर्किंग पेपर, शायद आपने जरूर देखा। ये रिपोर्ट बताती है कि ऐसी योजनाओं के कारण महामारी के बावजूद भारत में एक्सट्रीम पॉवर्टी खत्म होने की कगार पर है, और यही तो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है। देश की कई प्रतिभाओं ने तब काम का माहौल ना देखकर देश छोड़ने तक का फैसला कर लिया। ये सब उन्हीं सरकारी नीतियों का थर्ड ऑर्डर इम्पैक्ट था। उन नीतियों के इम्पैक्ट ने देश के इनोवेशन, हार्डवर्क और एंटरप्राइज की क्षमता को कुचल दिया। जब हर एक भारतीय की शक्ति लगेगी, हर एक भारतीय का परिश्रम लगेगा, विकसित भारत का सपना भी हम जल्द से जल्द पूरा कर पाएंगे। मुझे विश्वास है कि इसी भावना को रिपब्लिक नेटवर्क भी निरंतर सशक्त करता रहेगा। और अब तो अर्नब ने बता भी दिया है, वो ग्लोबली जा रहे हैं। भारत की आवाज को एक नई ताकत मिलेगी। मेरी उनको भी बहुत शुभकामना है। इतना बड़ा काम ऐसे नहीं हुआ है तो इसके लिए पहले आधार को संवैधानिक दर्जा दिया गया। 45 करोड़ से अधिक जनधन बैंक खाते मिशन मोड पर खोले गए। अभी तक 28 लाख करोड़ रुपए डीबीटी से करोड़ों लाभार्थियों तक पहुंचाए गए। डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर, कोई बिचौलिया नहीं, कोई कटकी कंपनी नहीं, कोई काली कमाई करने वाले लोग नहीं। और डीबीटी का सीधा सीधा मतलब है, डीबीटी यानी
Trending burning question powered by O General and American Tourister.
Thank you for staying with us here on Republic TV. More on the elections in Karnataka. On the campaign trail, the Prime Minister launched a scathing attack on the Vadra Congress and its links with the student wing of the banned radical outfit PFI. He spoke about the SDPI and the Congress links. The Prime Minister said the terror appeasement had always backfired for the party and that history is set to repeat itself. Here's what he said, and we'll tell you why he said it in Karnataka.
कांग्रेस की पूरी राजनीति बांटो और राज करो की नीति पर आधारित है। कर्नाटका ने खुद कांग्रेस का ये खौफनाक चेहरा देखा है। जो लोग कर्नाटका में आतंक फैलाने की साजिश में गिरफ्तार होते हैं, कांग्रेस उन्हें बचाने के लिए मैदान में आ जाती है। ये सच्चाई है कि नहीं है? ऐसे लोगों को कांग्रेस बचाती है कि नहीं बचाती है? अगर ऐसे लोगों को बचाएंगे तो शांति आएगी क्या? इतना ही नहीं, रिवर्स गियर कांग्रेस ऐसे एंटी नेशनल लोगों पर दर्ज मुकदमे ना केवल वापस ले लेती है, बल्कि उन्हें छोड़ भी देती है। समाज के विभिन्न वर्ग एकजुट होकर एंटी नेशनल लोगों का विरोध करते हैं। रिवर्स गियर कांग्रेस एंटी नेशनल लोगों से चुनावी मदद लेती है।
And joining us on the broadcast on the trending burning question, Dr. Tejaswini Gowda of the BJP, Yasmin Farooqi of the SDPI, T.R. Prasad Gowda of the JDS, and Advocate Nikhil Jain. They're all on the show this evening. Okay, the windows are wrong. I'll just remove the windows. We'll just label them correctly. And let me start with Yasmin Farooqi ji. Yasmin Farooqi ji, आज बोला गया है कि SDPI का on record बोला है कि let me tell you, the SDPI has said on record, Yasmin, and this is आपका General Secretary Ilyas Thumme ने बोला है कि आपका जो decision है, the decision is to defeat BJP, but the initial plan was to contest 100 seats, but we dropped the plan as the ground looks fertile for Congress to win and BJP to lose. We told our SDPI workers to campaign for Congress. क्या आप कांग्रेस के लिए कैंपेन कर रहे हैं? आपके जनरल सेक्रेटरी ने बोला है कि आपके वर्कर्स जहां पे आप कंटेस्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं वहां पे कांग्रेस के लिए कैंपेन करेंगे. क्या ये सच है?
अगर मेरे जनरल सेक्रेटरी ने ऐसा बोला है तो सच होगा.
आप तो डिनाई नहीं कर रहे हैं. क्या आप कैंपेन करेंगे कांग्रेस के लिए?
नहीं, अगर मेरा जनरल सेक्रेटरी बोल रहा है तो अभी हमारे पास ऐसा कोई डिसीजन आया नहीं है और ना हम लोगों ने ऐसा कोई डिसीजन लिया है. और ये तो राजनीति है, एक दूसरे से मिलके हाथ मिला के काम होता ही है. अगर ऐसा कोई सेंटर में डिसीजन हुआ है और जनरल सेक्रेटरी बोल रहा है तो वो मैं अभी मुझे कंफर्म नहीं है, क्योंकि इसलिए मैं उस पर क्या टिप्पणी दे सकती हूँ.
You're not even denying it. I mean, it's very interesting what's happening in Karnataka, because the Congress party yesterday, by the way, said that they will ban the PFI. They said they will ban the PFI, and God knows what they will ban, because the PFI has already been banned. That's the funniest part, right? Nikhil, the PFI has already been banned. So what exactly is the Congress going to ban? See, I'll complete my question and you can start. See, first of all, they are not going to ban the PFI. They can't, because the PFI is already banned. And then, in effect, it would mean that they're actually planning to ban the Bajrang Dal, right? And here, you have the SDPI not even denying it. You have the SDPI on record, on camera, saying they will campaign for the Congress party, right? Even in the last election, there were reports that you were in talks with them, or the Congress party was in talks with them. So now the pact is out in the open, Nikhil.
See, the SDPI may campaign for the BJP, they may campaign for the Congress. It's not the Congress's problem. If somebody is campaigning for us, that doesn't mean we have an alliance with them. The Congress has no alliance with the SDPI. The Congress has made a principle-based statement that we are going to ban and put a curb on all individuals and organizations who spread enmity between between the communities and the society, right? Whether it is a PFI, whether it is a Bajrang Dal, whether it is some other organization, some other individual, the Congress is saying we will ensure due process of law takes course, and organizations like these are banned. Now, whether it's a PFI or not doesn't matter. So
but PFI is banned. Who are you going to ban? How will you ban a banned group?
Used by the Congress party in its manifesto as an example of an organization who is spreading enmity between the communities.
No, but it's easy to say we'll ban the PFI.
Does the BJP have
PFI is already banned. PFI तो बैन हो चुका है. PFI तो बैन हो चुका है. तो आप बैन क्या करेंगे? तेजस्विनी गौड़ा, what exactly will the Congress ban when it's already banned?
You said it. You said it. We unmasked their the so-called secular faces. You know, when they were supposed to ban, when 28 Hindu Karyakartas were brutally murdered, when they were given the shelter for terrorists, when they have shown sympathy for the radicals, they have not done anything. And forget about it. When they were withdrawn the very serious charges of anti-national activities, 176 cases withdrawn, then they never even thought of banning the PFI. And they were never do this. Now there is nothing to ban anything. And also in the course of the legal procedure we followed in the apex court, we have proved their anti-national activities and terrorist activities, their radical activities. Then only now there is no other way. And how they were misleading. The other side, they have already lost the faith in Hindu population. Not only Hindus, other minorities like Jains, Sikhs, Buddhists, Sikhs, Parsis, everybody. And also, except radical Muslims, except terrorist sympathizers, the true Muslims, the patriotic Muslims are with BJP. So that's why, otherwise, after 30 years, after Vajpayee ji lost the power, Karnataka, believe me, Karnataka, even when UPA came to power,
yes, Nikhil.
From Karnataka, 18 MP seats were given to the BJP. Congress only 6 seats. So, I would like to conclude in 10
whether it's a Muslim or a Hindu, is supporting the BJP. Let's face the reality. The BJP is a party that does not care about the minorities, be it the Sikhs, be it the Muslims, be it the Parsis. They haven't given a single ticket to a Muslim candidate.
One second,
this is laughable. I'm sorry, but this is laughable. If the Muslims are supporting the BJP, what next?
No, I'll tell you something. Nikhil, the reason I asked you that question was because the Congress did not back the ban on the PFI. On the day the PFI was banned, let me remind you, and the JDS spokesperson is also here, TR Prasad Gowda. TR Prasad Gowda, the Congress has not backed the ban on PFI. They were very silent. In fact, they questioned the timing of the ban back then. We still remember. TR Prasad Gowda, what is your party stand on it? Because they are saying that they will back your candidates also. SDPI has said, Nikhil, let Mr. Gowda, let Prasad come in. Let Prasad come in. Prasad, are you also taking SDPI support? Are you also taking SDPI support, Prasad?
We are concentrating these elections, 2023 elections, only the developmental activity which our former chief minister has done whenever he got the opportunity to work for the state of Karnataka people, and we are the last people to provoke the minds of the people communally. These two national parties are indulged in only because they cannot seek the votes from the state of Karnataka people by telling their what developmental activity they can provide to the state of people. And we are the people. We are JDS regional party. We wanted to form the single majority government only on developmental activity and administration. Because Kumaraswamy ruled proved he is transparent. Whenever he has ruled the state of Karnataka, he ruled the country. He ruled the state with clean hands. Now we are going before the public with clean hands. Now there is no question of joining with anybody, whether with of course we are minority people are with the JDS. So and we are not here to provoke anybody's communal mentality, unlike these two national parties are doing. And we are the people will going to form the government in coming elections. Maybe only 1 week is ahead. 1 week is ahead of the election, and we witness 2023 will be a year for regional parties, sir.
Yeah, the irony is there are reports. 1 minute. There are reports that you know somebody called Harsha Hindu. Nikhil, do you know somebody called Harsha Hindu? Have you heard of Harsha Hindu in Karnataka?
I'm sorry, I'm not aware.
Yeah, okay. He's a Bajrang Dal activist who was hacked to death by radicals. Okay. By radicals.
That was a Bajrang Dal person who was hacked to death.
Yeah, Bajrang Dal
activist
who was hacked to death. Yeah.
And the Congress is vying.
My question to you is. My question to you is.
Ban the PFI or we ban the Bajrang Dal only. The Congress is saying whatever communal elements there are in the society, we are going to ban them.
They're already banned. You said PFI and Bajrang Dal, but who are you going to ban? See, the irony of the situation is, in the case of Harsha Hindu, I'll tell you, there was a reported PFI link and there was a Bajrang Dal victim. Bajrang Dal activist was hacked to death. PFI was being probed. PFI has been banned. And there are many instances where Bajrang Dal activists have been killed. You see the irony in this. Now, the irony also is in SDPI saying on record that they will campaign for the Congress party. I'll just come to the JDS. I want to go to Yasmin. Wait. Let me get in Yasmin. Yasmin जी, आपको क्या लगता है ये जो हो रहा है यहाँ पे कांग्रेस बोल रहे हैं कि आपका जो PFI है, आपका जो आउटफिट PFI आपका जो मदर ग्रुप है उसको बैन कर दिया गया है सेंटर ने, तो वो यही बोल रहा है कि PFI को बैन करना चाहिए, तो वो क्या बैन करेंगे? ऑलरेडी बैन है PFI, राइट? जो आइडियोलॉजिकल ग्रुप है आपका SDPI इज एन ऑफशूट ऑफ द PFI ना मैडम?
नो। एक तो आपको मैं सही कर दूं कि आप ये मत कहिए कि SDPI की मदर जो है वो PFI है, मैं इसको डिनाई करती हूँ, हमारा कोई लेना देना उनसे
मैम, हाउ आर यू सेइंग दैट मैडम?
ऑलरेडी बैन है
मैडम, हाउ आर यू सेइंग दैट?
मेरा बहन जी,
तो फिर
क्या आप
मैम आप
नहीं, आई नो बिकॉज आई नो हमारा कोई लेना देना PFI से नहीं।
आप सपोर्ट
तेजस्वी कुछ बोल रहे हैं, आप तेजस्वी कुछ बोल रहे हैं,
जोड़ने की कोशिश मत कीजिए।
ओके, तेजस बीजेपी के जो स्पोक्सपर्सन है वो कुछ बोल रहे हैं। हाँ जी,
गलत रास्ते पर जा रहे हैं।
मेरी बात पूरी होने दीजिए।
ओके, बात कीजिए।
मेरी बात पूरी होने
ओके, यास्मीन, तेजस्वी let Yasmin speak. Tejaswini, let Yasmin finish her point and you can respond to. Okay, Yasmin जी बताइए।
देखिए एक बात सुनिए कि हमारा एसडीपीआई का और उसका कोई लिंक नहीं है, ये एक बात ही गलत है। दूसरी बात, अगर पीएफआई के बैन की बात कर रहे हैं तो ये तमाशा ही क्यों हो रहा है? पीएफआई ऑलरेडी बैन है, कहाँ से आपको लग रहा है कि पीएफआई मैदान में है? तो उसकी बात ही करना बेवकूफ़ी है, और हमारा उनसे कोई लेना देना नहीं है। वो क्या कर रहे हैं, क्या हो रहा है, क्या नहीं हो रहा है, उनका मसला है।
वो तो कलर्स चेंज करते हैं और एक फॉरम में आते हैं और एक नाम, नया नया नाम लेकर उनका एक्टिविटी स्प्रेड करते हैं। उनका जो एटीट्यूड है उसको बदलना है, उनका लक्ष्य जो है उसको बदलना है। क्या मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी में ऐसा प्रयास हो रहा है? जो बच्चा गलत रास्ते पे जा रहे हैं, उनका बहुत अच्छा भविष्य है, उसके रास्ते में कौन लाना है?
No, I don't know what she's denying. आपको यास्मीन जी, आप कैसे डिनाई कर रहे हैं? आपके जो पार्टी के
अगर
आपके पार्टी के जो लीडर्स हैं उन्होंने भी
शाखाएं चल रही हैं और 8-8, 9-9 साल के बच्चे डंडे लेके जा रहे हैं, तो उसको आप क्या बोलेंगी? वो वहाँ पे क्या अच्छी तरबियत के लिए आप लेके जा रहे हो?
बहन जी, हम हमेशा वायलेंस नहीं प्रीच करते हैं।
मैं तो प्रूफ कर सकती हूँ इस बात को। मैं इस बात को तेजस्वी जी प्रूफ कर सकती हूँ कि 8-8, 9-9 साल के बच्चों को डंडे लेके डंडे चलाना सिखाया जा रहा है। वो आरएसएस की क्या बात करोगे आप?
तो आप पीएफआई और आरएसएस को कंपेयर कर रहे हैं अभी। द एसडीपीआई स्पोक्सपर्सन इज कंपेयरिंग द पीएफआई एंड आरएसएस।
मत लगाइए।
तो आप बता दीजिए, आप कांग्रेस को बता दीजिए आरएसएस बैन करेंगे।
हमारा पीएफआई से कोई लेना देना
नहीं, मैं बोल रहा हूँ यास्मीन जी इस डिबेट में कांग्रेस के जो बैकर, आई वुडंट से कांग्रेस लीडर बट कांग्रेस का बैकर जो है निखिल, उसको बता दीजिए कि उनके मैनिफेस्टो में आप ये भी लिख दीजिए कि आरएसएस को भी बैन करेंगे। आपके लॉजिक में आपके लॉजिक से वही लिखना है ना?
उससे वो अभी मैंने तेजस्विनी जी को जवाब दिया है। आप ट्विस्ट मत कीजिए। मैंने तेजस्विनी जी को जवाब दिया है जब उन्होंने ये बात कही है कि मुस्लिम बच्चों को गलत रास्ता दिखाया जा रहा है, तो इन्हें मुस्लिम बच्चे नजर आ रहे हैं, उधर गलत रास्ते नजर नहीं आ रहे, तो ये तो इनका काम है, ये करें, ये काम मेरा नहीं है।
लव जिहाद जो होता है ना, एक मकसद रखकर होता है ना, ये गलत है।
कोई
और
कन्वर्शन
होता है ना, ये गलत है।
आजकल तो
और हमारा आस्था जो है,
अगर आप
वो माता उनका आस्था का बात होता है। हम किसी को हर्ट करने का राइट नहीं होता है।
कह रहे हो आपकी आस्था और जगहों पे बंगाल में क्या हो जाती है, आपकी आस्था गोवा में क्या हो जाती है। आस्था तो हर जगह आस्था है।
सिर्फ
अपन जब बात कर रहे हैं तो
कोस्टल बेल्ट में सिर्फ क्यों आते हैं? आईसिस क्यों ज्वाइन होते हैं? हमारा मासूम बच्चे आईसिस क्यों ज्वाइन होते हैं? पाकिस्तान क्यों जाते हैं? ट्रेनिंग क्यों लेते हैं? कानून हाथ में क्यों लेते हैं?
कौन जा रहा है? आप साबित करो।
सही है,
साबित करो। बोलने से कुछ नहीं होता।
क्या साबित करना है? एक मिनट, क्या साबित करना है?
साबित करने को कोई
one second. Let's not stereotype. One second. Let's not stereotype anyone. क्या साबित करना है यास्मीन जी?
ये साबित करना है कि बच्चे कितने जा रहे हैं, कहां से जा रहे हैं, कौन जा रहे हैं। लाइए लिस्ट दीजिए, कितने लव जिहाद के केसेस हो गए और कितने
मैं बताता हूं, मैं आपको
हिंदू लड़कों से
एक मिनट ये दूसरा डिबेट हो गया। अभी तो
प्यार मोहब्बत की बात
ना ये दूसरा डिबेट हो गया, लेकिन आपको 5 नहीं एक मिनट आपने
बात करोगे।
आपने एक क्वेश्चन पूछा है, मैं आपका एक जवाब दे दूंगा। आपने पूछा सबूत दो कि कौन जाके आईसिस ज्वाइन किया है। आपको 4 नाम देता हूं, अभी देता हूं मैं आपको, अभी निमिशा एलियस फातिमा।
नामों से क्या होता है? कितने?
अरे आपने बोला सबूत दे दो करके, मैं सबूत दे रहा हूं मैडम।
उसको क्या
नहीं मैं सबूत दे रहा हूं सिर्फ क्योंकि आपने पूछा। निमिशा एलियस फातिमा, सोनिया सेबेस्टियन एलियस आयशा, शमशिया कुरिया, मेरिन जेकब एलियस मरियम, सब लोग जाके कन्वर्ट होके आईसिस ज्वाइन किया।
जवाब दूं आपको?
और एंड दे वर यस 1 मिनट दे वर स्ट्रैंडेड। अभी भी अफगानिस्तान में है मैडम।
क्रिश्चियन थे
अभी भी अफगानिस्तान में वेट कर रहे हैं।
अरे तो वो मुसलमान कहाँ थे? वो मुसलमान नहीं थे, वो क्रिश्चियन थे।
हाथ में लेते हैं
वो
Okay, we're diverting now. We're diverting. ये different debate है. ये different debate है. 1 minute.
वो हमें समझ में नहीं आता.
नहीं, ये different debate है. लेकिन let's not get into that. This is a different debate. This is a different debate. वो नहीं है. That's not the point. Point is आप कांग्रेस और जेडीएस के लिए क्यों कैंपेन कर रहे हैं? आपका जो जनरल सेक्रेटरी है वो बोल रहे हैं कि हम कांग्रेस और जेडीएस के लिए कैंपेन करेंगे. आप उनको समर्थन क्यों दे रहे हैं आप? और टीआर प्रसाद गौड़ा जी, why are you TR Prasad Gowda taking SDPI help? I thought Kumaraswamy was a mass leader. Why do you need SDPI support, sir?
राजनीति दो पार्टी एक दूसरे से हाथ मिलाती हैं, इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है?
As a matter of fact, minority Muslims are with JDS. Our president, JDS president himself is Muslim. The CM Ibrahim.
SDPI is also with JDS.
Of course, if any organization,
of course,
if any organization wants to,
you're not even denying it, sir.
We welcome, but we will not encourage any. We will not encourage any.
You're not even denying it.
Any organization, but
no, you're not even denying it.
One thing is sure, we are going before the public.
You're not even denying it anymore. TR Prasad Gowda, you're not even denying it. SDPI is happy to back Congress and JDS, and you're not even denying it. You're saying it's okay, please help, please vote for us. It's okay.
Sir, I'm telling you, Muslim community are fully with JDS this time. Irrespective of organizations, any organization wants to support, we welcome it. But we will not encourage or any criminal activities by the organizations.
Do you back PFI ban? Do you back the ban on PFI?
Niranjan ji.
No, Prasad Gowda. He's right and run away from the question.
Sir, I'm very clear in my point. Any organization, if they are indulged into any criminal activities, we will not encourage them. But as a
sir, don't beat around the bush, sir. I say yes or no question. Do you back the ban on PFI?
We are with Muslims.
Do you back the ban on PFI?
Banning PFI,
yes or no?
Banning PFI, it is not my lookout. It is.
Why are you evading the question? I know you want votes. I know you want SDPI to campaign for you. I'm asking you, do you back the ban on PFI? Yes or no?
We will disagree with that.
What are you saying? Partially disagree. What are you saying? You want SDPI to campaign for you?
If they want to campaign for us, we will welcome it.
You're not even denying it. What's going on? SDPI, देखिए यास्मीन जी, आपका पूरा समर्थन आपको जेडीएस से भी मिल रहा है. जेडीएस भी आपका एलाई बन गया ऑलरेडी. जेडीएस आपका एलाई बन गया है. बोल रहे कि हाँ हमें कैंपेन कीजिए. कोई बात नहीं. ये क्या हो रहा है? सब ओपनली हो रहा है अभी पॉलिटिकली. यास्मीन जी.
इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है?
प्रॉब्लम ये है कि कुछ और बोलते हैं.
प्रॉब्लम क्या है? कोई भी राजनीति
डिबेट में कुछ और बोलते हैं, रैली में कुछ और बोलते हैं और होता कुछ और है.
आप सब एक है, बोलिए.
ये तो सारी राजनीतिक पार्टियों का उसूल ही यही है कि कहीं कुछ बोलते हैं, कहीं कुछ बोलते हैं. तो वो देखिए, एक बात सुनिए, राजनीतिक में क्या होता है. राजनीति में वो तो इंस्टेंटली होता है जो कुछ भी होता है.
On record, I'm saying it.
अगर हाथ मिला रहे हैं तो क्या दिक्कत है?
On record, the JDS spokesperson, I'm putting it on record that the JDS spokesperson has said it's okay if the SDPI campaigns for the JDS. That's a first. Nikhil, you were just putting your hand up. Last word from you.
Yeah. So a couple of points, Nilanjan. Whenever the topic of the PFI ban comes up, I've always seen BJP spokesperson making the point that why did the Congress not ban it earlier? May I remind them that before Narendra Modi, the BJP was in government for 6 years during Vajpayee. Was the PFI banned then? Second point, my friend from the JDS is very cleverly putting both the national parties, the Congress and the BJP, in the same boat and saying that both of them are unsecular, both of them flare up communal tensions, and both of them are not willing. This is nothing but nothing but illogic. Because the Congress is a secular party, the BJP is a communal party. The country knows that. The Congress had 38% vote share in the previous election. The BJP had 36%. I don't know what the vote share for JDS was, but I'm pretty sure it's not more than 20%. Thirdly, so far as the Bajrang Dal and the PFI are concerned, and the VHP are concerned, these are organizations that have been claimed by multiple international agencies, namely the Human Rights Watch, the United States State Department, and the Central Intelligence Agency. They have been classified as militant organizations. Now, I don't understand why the BJP wants to, wants to prevent these militant organizations when it creates an issue about Bajrang Dal being representing Lord Hanuman.
I've never heard Congress calling them militant. I've never heard Congress calling PFI militant.
Bajrang Dal does. And Nilanjan, I have an objection with you as well. I don't understand why do you keep on saying Bajrang Dal activist? Is it an activist? Just because some person has a political ideology and they die in the line of it, does it necessarily make them an activist?
So what do you mean? He's a Bajrang Dal worker. What do you want me to call him? Bajrang Dal worker.
Call him a Bajrang Dal worker, call him a Bajrang Dal member. Why an activist? Is this the job
What's
of an
wrong?
activist?
I don't understand. I think you're being very picky. No, 1 minute. You're being very... No, please. You know, you can also be a PFI activist. You can be a PFI. No.
Why do you call them activists?
No, what's wrong in calling them? I don't know why you're so touchy about that. I don't know why you're so touchy about it.
What is wrong in calling these people activists is... Acha, tell me this. Would you call a terrorist an activist?
No. There's only one word for them. That's
the whole
terrorist.
Point. Bajrang Dal is a militant organization.
Bajrang Dal is a militant organization. Really? That's why you have leaders in the Congress today. That's why you have Congress leaders today objecting.
That the United States State Department says that Ram Vilas Paswan agrees that
Nikhil, the party that you
had a problem with Bajrang Dal. You have few politicians from this country, international organizations, calling them militant organizations. Calling the Bajrang Dal militant.
Today you're here. Nikhil, today you're here as an advocate, but I'm sure if you were here as a Congress leader or a spokesperson, you wouldn't dare call Bajrang Dal a militant group. I think you have to be a little more careful about calling them a militant group.
You know it better than I. Nilanjan, I'm not a Congress spokesperson.
I know. But I'm saying...
has very clearly taken a line in its manifesto that they are going to ban all organizations that spread enmity.
I have to take a break.
Beat the BFI.
Interesting debate.
The ban continues. Beat the Bajrang Dal. The ban initiates. Beat some other individual. Beat some other organization.
Got it.
The Congress party is promising people development.
I got it. But there's a lot of double speak on that because I don't know whether you've heard. But there are leaders in the Congress who are saying that it's a mistake. There are leaders in the Congress saying Bajrang Dal mention was a mistake, Nikhil. I'll leave it at that. Prasad Gowda, Yasmin ji, Tejaswini and Nikhil, thank you for joining us on the Trending Burning Question. The debate with Arnab coming up next. Stay tuned.
Amity faculty have filed over 1800 patents. Yet another reason why Amity has been ranked among the top for innovation achievements.
ಏನ್ ತಮಾಷೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಪ್ಪ ಅವ್ರ ಅಧಿಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾಗ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿಯಿಂದ ₹100 ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ₹85 ಲೂಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಅದೇ ಜನ ಇವತ್ತು ನನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮಗ್ ಲೂಟಿ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ. ನನ್ನ ಓಟು ನನಗ್ ಸೇರ್ಬೇಕಾದ ಇಡೀ ₹100 ನನ್ನ ಖಾತೆಗೆ ತಲುಪಿಸಿದವ್ರಿಗೆ. ನನ್ನ ಓಟು ಮೋದಿಜಿಯವರ ಡಬಲ್ ಇಂಜಿನ್ ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ.
ಈ ಬಾರಿಯ ನಿರ್ಧಾರ ಬಹುಮತ ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರ.
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ಸಾಕಾರ.